This is Ira Dwi Hafsari and also Mita. So this is Ira Dwi Hafsari and also Mita. So this is Ira Dwi Hafsari and also Mita. So this is Ira Dwi Hafsari and also Mita.
Tiada pernah berhenti. Rindu rintan dalam terliku, bukan salah. Ada bila dalam kenangan mohon yang kuasa datanglah kerukunan bangsa, kobarkanlah dalam dada semangat jiwa Pancasila. Tiada mungkin tanpa perjuangan, tanpa pengorbanan, mulia adanya. Peganglah tangan dalam teguh cita demi masa depan Indonesia Jaya. Apabila segala dan bangga mohon dan kuasa, ciptakanlah kerukunan bangsa, kobarkanlah dalam dada semangat jiwa Pancasila. Hidup tiada mungkin tanpa perjuangan, tanpa pengorbanan, mulia adanya. Tiada mungkin
also Ira. Please pay attention. We will start the event immediately. Peace be upon you and Allah mercy and blessings. Good mornings, greetings of all hearts. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, greeting of kindness. The Honorable HM Hartopo STMMMH as PLT Region of Kudus, Dr. Andes Catur Widiatno MSE as the Chairman of the Human Resources Education and Training Board of Kudus Regency Government. We are very happy to have and we really respect to Dr. Faisan Ali as Assistant Professor from the University of South Florida, Sarasota, Manatee, USA. We are very happy to have and we really respect to Dr. Rab Nawaslodi as Associate Professor from the University of Central Punjab, Pakistan. Dr. Zulkifli SPTMM as Chairman of the LPPM STIE Semarang. Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho HPMSI from BPSDMD Provinsi Jawa Tengah. And we respect and we are proud of, ladies and gentlemen, all webinar participants on this occasion. Good morning, and let's say thanks God, the merciful, because only for his blessing and mercy, we all together could be here to gain knowledge from these extraordinary people that internationally carry out by online. Hopefully, in this pandemic period, we will always be protected and stay healthy. Well, International Webinar for Building Creativity and Digitalization Learning Model in the new normal era is an effort of the government of Kudus Regency in the context of developing teacher competencies by enriching knowledge insight so that they can increase their professionalism in educating students, as well as fostering teacher motivation to be able to improve the ability to use information technology so as to be able to create a higher quality and beneficial learning models. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before the event begins, please pay attention. We will read the following webinar rules. First, participants have registered and filled out the participant forms. Participants must dress and behave politely during the webinar. Please ensure that the internet connection is stable. Please ensure that the visual and audio connection on your device are well connected. All participants are requested to activate the video during the webinar. and webinar participants are expected to join with their real names and organization. Participants will be mute during speech of the keynote speakers and will be unmute during question and answer sessions. During the question and answer sessions, participants' questions are facilitated via raise hand or please chat on the Zoom applications. All participants will be given an e-certificate with the following condition. A, participants who have registered and attended the webinar. And B, participants who have filled in the attendance list and evaluation of the webinar activities on the link provided during the activity. Ladies and gentlemen, next, link of attendance list and evaluation of the webinar activities will be given 30 minutes before the webinar ends. E-certificates will be given no longer than 1 month after the activities for participants who have met the requirements. E-certificate and material link will be given at the end of the activity in the Zoom application or chat room. And the last, all participants, please expected to take part in the webinar activities until it is finished. Dear ladies and gentlemen, here I am Ira Hapsari as the Master of Ceremonies will guide you in this webinar. But before starting our agenda, let me explain the agenda schedule on this webinar. The first is opening, then the second one is listening Indonesia National Anthem. The third is speech from the Chairman of Human Resources, Education and Training Board, Kudus District Government. Fourth, speech in the opening webinar by PLT Region of Kudus. And the fifth, implementation of webinar, presentation by keynote speakers, as well as discussion, question and answer sessions, which will be guided by Mrs. Sri Suwanti STPMM as moderator. And before closing, we will have ceremonial for Museum Rekor Dunia Indonesia or MURI. All blessed audiences, let's start this agenda by pray together. Pray, start. It's enough. Entering the next agenda is listening Indonesia National Anthem. Our participants, please stand up.
Indonesia
please sit down and thank you. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the next event is speech from the Chairman of Human Resources, Education and Training Board, Kudus District Government. To Mr. Dr. Andes Chaturwidiatno, MSE, we please. I'm sorry, there's a change in our schedule. Happy ladies and gentlemen of the webinar participants. The next agenda is the speech in the opening webinar by PLT Region of Kudus that will be delivered in Indonesian language. To Mr. HM Hartopo, STMMMH, we please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Yang saya hormati Dr. Faizan Ali dari University of South Florida, Sarasota, Manatee, USA. Dr. Rat Nawaz Lodi dari University of Central Punjab, Pakistan. Kandidat Dr. Yufikri SPT MM, Kepala BKPP Kabupaten Kudus, hadirin para peserta webinar yang berbahagia. Marilah tak henti-hentinya kita memanjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala yang senantiasa melimpahkan rahmat dan hidayahnya sehingga kali ini kita dalam keadaan sehat walafiat dapat mengikuti webinar ini. Mengawali sambutan ini, saya ingin memberikan apresiasi kepada Badan Kepegawaian, Pendidikan dan Pelatihan atau BKPP Kabupaten Kudus yang telah menyelenggarakan webinar internasional ini. Webinar seperti ini tentunya akan menambah dan memperluas wawasan kita dengan pemikiran-pemikiran dari para ahli yang kompeten di bidangnya dari berbagai negara. Sehingga tentunya kita bersama dapat mengambil manfaat dan mendapat pencerahan untuk kemudian dapat kita terapkan di lingkungan kerja kita masing-masing. Hadirin peserta webinar yang berbahagia, harus kita akui bahwa dengan adanya pandemi ini membuat berbagai sisi kehidupan kita menjadi terdampak. Namun, optimisme kembali muncul seiring dengan pemberlakuan tatanan kehidupan baru atau yang bisa kita kenal dengan new normal era. Di dalamnya kita tetap dapat beraktivitas melalui penerapan adaptasi kehidupan baru dengan penerapan protokol kesehatan yang ketat. Bagaimanapun kondisinya, jangan sampai pendidikan anak-anak kita menjadi korban karena mereka adalah aset bangsa ini. Pemanfaatan teknologi informasi kemudian menjadi solusi terbaik. Hal ini gayung bersambut dengan proses digitalisasi pada pola pembelajaran masa kini. Digitalisasi dalam pendidikan tidak hanya di sistem pembelajarannya, tapi semua backend sistem seperti cara guru melatih diri. Bagaimana cara guru mencari informasi, bagaimana koordinasi atau komunikasi antara guru dan orang tua. Nantinya para guru dalam pembelajaran tidak akan digantikan dengan teknologi, namun dikuatkan potensinya melalui digitalisasi pendidikan. Kreativitas guru dalam memanfaatkan teknologi informasi, mengemas model pembelajaran yang lebih menarik, efektif, dan efisien akan menjadi krusial dalam keunggulan proses pendidikan. Hadirin peserta webinar yang berbahagia, oleh karenanya pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus berupaya untuk melakukan pengembangan kompetensi guru melalui International Webinar for Building Creativity and Digitalization Learning Model in the New Normal Era. Webinar ini diharapkan dapat memperkaya wawasan dan pengetahuan para guru agar dapat meningkatkan profesional dalam mendidik pelajar. Di samping itu juga untuk meningkatkan motivasi guru agar dapat meningkatkan kemampuan pemanfaatan teknologi informasi dalam menciptakan model pembelajaran yang lebih berkualitas dan bermanfaat baik. Akhir kata, selamat mengikuti webinar ini. Semoga dapat bermanfaat bagi diri, lingkungan maupun bagi generasi mendatang. Sekian dan terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, the next event is speech from the Chairman of Human Resources Education and Training Board, Kudus District Government. To Mr. Dr. Andes Chaturwidyatno, MSI, we please.
Yang kami hormati Asisten Administrasi Umum Sekda, Staf Ahli Bupati Kudus, Bidang Keuangan dan Sumber Daya Manusia. Yang kami hormati Kepala Dinas Pendidikan, Kepemudaan dan Olahraga, dan seluruh peserta webinar internasional yang berbahagia. Mengawali laporan ini, izinkanlah kami menyertai Bapak, Ibu, dan saudara sekalian untuk senantiasa memanjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, bahwa pada hari ini yang cerah kita masih diberi kekuatan lahir dan batin, sehingga kita semua dapat mengikuti acara webinar internasional dalam rangka membangun kreativitas dan digitalisasi dalam model pembelajaran di era new normal di lingkungan pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus tahun 2020. Bapak PLT Bupati yang kami hormati, dalam rangka mewujudkan aparatur sipil negara yang profesional, khususnya bagi para pendidik dipandang perlu untuk melakukan sebuah upaya pengembangan kompetensi. Model pembelajaran pada era new normal dilakukan dengan social distancing, virtual learning, yang memungkinkan belajar dari kantor dan belajar dari rumah. Model pembelajaran tersebut sangat memerlukan dukungan teknologi dan digitalisasi untuk memfasilitasi pembelajaran jarak jauh, yang harus diikuti kemampuan dan keterampilan teknologi informasi. Kapabilitas pembelajaran tidak hanya diperlukan bagi siswa dan tenaga pendidik semata, namun juga setiap SDM agar memiliki kompetensi, skill yang meningkat sehingga dapat bekerja dengan profesional. Guru adalah poros utama pendidik yang merupakan penentu kemajuan suatu negara di masa depan. Kemampuan adaptasi guru untuk dapat melakukan transfer ilmu pada era new normal memerlukan kemampuan menggunakan teknologi atau digitalisasi. Sejalan dengan roadmap reformasi birokrasi 2020 sampai 2024, menuju birokrasi berkelas dunia melalui perwujudan Smart ASN yang berintegritas profesional, kompeten, berdaya melayani, serta menguasai IT, digitalisasi, dan bahasa asing. Pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus berupaya untuk melakukan pengembangan kompetensi guru dengan menyelenggarakan International Webinar for Building Creativity and Digitalization Learning Model in the New Era Normal Era. Untuk memperkaya wawasan pengetahuan agar guru dapat meningkatkan profesionalismenya dalam mendidik pelajar, serta memotivasi guru untuk dapat meningkatkan kemampuan memanfaatkan teknologi informasi guna menciptakan model pembelajaran yang lebih berkualitas dan bermanfaat baik. Selanjutnya kami laporkan hal-hal yang terkait dengan penyelenggaraan webinar internasional sebagai berikut. Dasar pelaksanaan. Surat Lembaga Administrasi Negara Republik Indonesia nomor 5 tahun 2018 tentang pengembangan kompetensi pegawai aparatur sipil negara. Kedua, surat edaran Kepala LAN nomor 24-KT1-HKM.02.3 tentang panduan teknis perencanaan pelatihan, pemanfaatan teknologi informasi, penyusunan skenario pembelajaran, serta kehadiran dan partisipasi dalam masa pandemi COVID-19. 3. Hasil analisis kebutuhan pelatihan bagi pegawai ASN, khususnya bagi para tenaga pendidik, guru di lingkungan pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus, yaitu pengembangan model pembelajaran digitalisasi di era new normal. Tujuan webinar ini tujuannya adalah untuk meningkatkan kompetensi guru melalui pengembangan wawasan pengetahuan dan meningkatkan motivasi dalam mengembangkan kreativitas model pembelajaran digitalisasi di era new normal. Target dan sasaran peserta webinar yaitu PNS, guru SD dan SMP, serta ASN non-guru di lingkungan pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus. Namun webinar ini juga memberikan kontribusi pengembangan kompetensi bagi guru non-ASN, ASN dari luar lingkungan pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus, akademisi, dan mahasiswa dari perguruan tinggi dalam negeri dan luar negeri dengan jumlah keseluruhan peserta sebanyak 1.215 orang dari kurang lebih 512 satuan pendidik atau lembaga pemerintah dan swasta. Waktu dan tempat. Webinar ini dilaksanakan pada hari Sabtu 5 September 2020 pukul 9 sampai dengan selesai, bertempat di Pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus dan dilaksanakan secara virtual Zoom meeting yang terkoneksi dengan seluruh peserta di beberapa daerah dan negara. Materi dan tenaga pengajar. Cakupan materi webinar berjumlah 4 jam pelajaran. Narasumber webinar terdiri dari unsur akademisi internasional dan dalam negeri, unsur pemerintah Provinsi Jawa Tengah dan pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus. Narasumber, keynote speaker bahasa Indonesia, Bapak Bupati Kudus, Kepala BPS DMD Provinsi Jawa Tengah, Ketua LPPM STIE Semarang. Narasumber internasional, Dr. Faisal Ali dari University of South Florida USA, Dr. Nawaz Lodi dari University of Central Punjab, Pakistan. Biaya penyelenggaraan webinar internasional ini berasal dari bantuan sukarela berupa tenaga pengajar dari luar negeri, tenaga pengajar BPSDMD Provinsi Jawa Tengah, dan Ketua LPPM STIE Semarang. Bantuan tenaga teknis dari Dinas Kominfo, sehingga webinar ini gratis tanpa biaya APBD Kabupaten Kudus. Penutup, Bapak Bupati PRT Bupati Kudus yang kami hormati, demikian laporan kami terkait dengan penyelenggaraan webinar internasional dalam rangka membangun kreativitas dan digitalisasi model pembelajaran pada era new normal pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus. Terima kasih atas segala perhatian. Akhirul kalam. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, dear ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, entering the main event, the presentation of keynote speakers, as well as the discussion, question and answer sessions, which will guided directly by Mrs. Sriswanti SSTPMM as moderator. Dear Mrs. Sriswanti, we please.
Thank you very much, dear Ira Dwi Hapsari. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Wilujeng Enjing. Thank you for everybody who already joining in this webinar. But before I start this webinar, I'm going to say thank you very much to HM Hartopo ST MM MHS PLC of Region of Kudus who support this international webinar. And also Dr. Andes Catur Widiatno MSI as the chairman of PKPP Kabupaten Kudus, and also all the participants and the keynote speakers. But before we start, I feel so happy today because we have Muri that will give Museum Record Dunia Indonesia. So I'm thinking about to stop for a moment to give Muri to give us for this webinar. So we are stop for a moment. Then I will ask our friends to take documentation for first. Then you please can take your time. Okay. Mohon yang terhormat Bapak Catur, ya, untuk dapat menerima penghargaan dari Muri, kami persilahkan. Di sini saja barangkali. Oh iya. Oke. Ya, mau apa nanti dulu? Oh, nanti dulu kita ikutin dulu. Oh, itu tadi. Okay, thank you. So we will give chance later so we can start our webinar. For first, I'm very happy that we will have Dr. Faizan Ali from United States of Sarasota, Manatee, USA. Can you please show up? I want to check you if you already joined here. Dr. Faizan Ali.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you give spotlight to Dr. Faizan Ali, please?
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me clearly?
Thank you. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
We are good now, and we are very happy to have you here. And also, he will be the first speaker today, and the second one, we will have Dr. Rabnawas Lodi from Pakistan. Can you hear me, Dr. Rabnawas Lodi?
Yes, I can hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much. And we will have the third speaker will be Dr. Kandidat Zulkifli. Can you say hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah. Okay. And the fourth, we will have Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho. Are you here already? Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho. Yeah. We will check. Okay. He is here. Okay, thank you. But I cannot hear anything from you.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you so much. So I am the moderator. My name is Sri Swanti, and I will lead this webinar. I would like to hello to everybody, all participants. We have a lot of participants today. They are coming from many countries, especially Pakistan, Indonesia, and also Bangladesh, Malaysia, and Yemen, and more. So we are very happy, and they have different of profession. Some are teachers from elementary school and from also junior high school and university also, lecturer and student, and a lot of people from civil servant government. Okay, so we are blessed that Dr. Faisal Ali, he is an assistant professor from United States of America, that he will give his presentation for you for 20 minutes. But I will say to Dr. Faisal Ali, please can you give spotlight to Dr. Faisal Ali? Yes. Okay. He is a assistant professor and graduate program coordinator, USF USA, and his background of study is management for master degree from UK and PhD in marketing in Malaysia. So today, his presentation is about technology in learning. We please Dr. Faisal Ali, 20 minutes for you, and after that we will have chance for asking question for 10 minutes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. One or two maybe clarifications before we go ahead. First of all, everybody was introducing me that I'm Faizan from USA. So maybe a lot of people might be thinking that he might be a white guy with clean shave or whatever. So I'm originally from Pakistan, but I live
Can
in
you
the USA.
make your microphone closer with you because I cannot hear you clearly.
Okay, just
microphone.
a moment. Hold on, okay? Better now? Is it better now?
Yes, this is better.
Okay.
So please.
All right, perfect. So yeah, so two clarifications. One, everybody was introducing me, Dr. Faizan from USA. And I was wondering, maybe some people might be thinking of me as a white guy with no beard, clean shave or whatever. I am originally from Pakistan. So I was very happy to see Pakistani flag as well as the US flag, because both of them are my homes, right? So Pakistan is my original home and US is where I live now. So thank you. And then the other one is that I might be looking very tired, and that is because it's almost 11 o'clock here in the US in the nighttime. And this is my second speech today. So I ended another conference in Turkey. Yes, so okay. You know, so if I look a bit tired, it's not because I'm not happy to see all of you. I'm very happy to see all of you. It's just too tiring.
Thank you.
All right, now with that, I'll quickly share my screen and go ahead with the presentation. Okay. So do you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. All right, so like you all introduced me already, so I'm not going to go into my introductions, but today's topic we are going to talk about is how can we use technology to enhance learning. And that is because currently everybody is going online to teach, either synchronous or asynchronous, and we'll talk about it. But most of us are forced to use technology, right? So most of us have to use technology, whether we want or whether we don't want. However, when it's forced, we can do certain things to make it effective way of enhancing learning. So that's what I'll be talking about today. Like I said, I am not going to go into my introduction. I'll just leave it as it is. And let's start with one question very quickly. So if I guess that everybody is online on Zoom, and I see that everybody is there. So if you guys have your phones or your computers on with you, if you don't mind, can you go to this website, which is www.menti.com, and then put this code and then just answer this question: what type of teaching model are you currently using? If you can do this, it's going to help us a little bit with this presentation. All right, so let's see. Okay. Come on, guys. There are around 660 people online right now. Okay. I'll wait for one more minute and we'll see how many answers do we get, and then we can proceed from here. And don't close your phones or laptops or whatever you're using, because there's one more question that we'll move on to the next slide. Maybe another 30 seconds and then we can move to the next slide.
Oh, itu sudah data.
Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move to the next slide, even though there are not a lot of votes, but I guess it represents a little bit of reality because this is what's happening all around the world. My next question to you guys is, and if you can do this one very quickly, what is one main challenge that you face with the use of technology in your classes? And I know that there are a lot of teachers who are teaching in the universities or wherever. You can just put very quickly something, it will just help us a little with this presentation.
Okay, so what is the main challenge that you face in use technology? Usually in Indonesia, mostly they don't have a lot of internet connection, and also they don't have a private laptop or computer, something like that. So only probably around 50% of them.
Okay.
So mostly they will use a mobile phone. I did a survey before last month that they face some problem about using technology. So some people don't really have internet connection. Maybe teacher they have internet connection, but for student they don't really have. But they most of the time will use WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay, it's understandable. And when we look at these answers here, obviously a lot of answers are related to technology because we are talking about using technology in the classes, right? So sometimes it can be technology, but also students, because maybe students are not engaged, or maybe students are not motivated, or maybe they're not paying attention or something like this. So whenever it comes to technology usage in the classes, in order to make it effective, we need to look at these two groups. One is problems with the technology, and then the problems with the students, or how to make students work in the class, right? That's pretty much what it is. And today's presentation, I'll quickly cover both these aspects. And later on we can discuss this more in the question and answer session. So now I see that there are some more answers in here, and that is gadget and internet access is limited. We don't have a lot of privacy. internet data is limited, Zoom by using presentation and video, internet connection. So again, you can see that it's either problem with the students or problem with the technologies, right? So that's very common. I mean, even in the US, it's the same issue. I'm pretty sure that in Pakistan, it's the same issues that people are facing. But let me tell you this. So what happens is that when many teachers, because teachers have their families, right? So when many teachers get into situations like this, they force students to do something that students don't want to do. And I have a very interesting quotation, and the quotation is that do not limit a child to your own learning, for he was born in another time. So if you think about it, if let's say Lodi, Dr. Lodi here is very young guy, right? So he's a young professor. But even if he thinks about his college education or bachelor's education, that was what, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, or something like that. Now, 10, 12 years after that time, it's a completely new time. So we have students from today that we are trying to use technology from 10 years ago or methods from 10 years ago, trying to push them to learn these methods. It's just not going to work because it's two different generations. And when it comes to generations, I want to show you something very interesting. So right now in the world, we have multiple generations, right? So we have baby boomers, which is our parents or probably grandparents. Generation X is our parents. And then we have millennials. Now, if anybody of you think about it, when you sit down with your grandparents or with your parents, you would see that they're always talking about their time. They say like, in my time, things were like this. When I was young, things were good. When I was young, it was like that, right? So that generation, which was baby boomers, they always talk about time. This time is like that time was like that. Then we talk about generation X, which is maybe, my parents, or who are around for 50s, in their 50s. They actually were not happy with baby boomers, with their parents, and they're not happy with their kids. So my father, he complains about his father, and he also complains about me. So generation X always was this complaining generation. And now when we come to millennials, the young people right now, which I see a lot of them who are in this presentation today, they only talk about phones. So if you ever meet somebody who is young, they always talk about technology, phones, this phone, that phone, this technology, that technology. So it's very imperative for us as teachers to understand that there's big differences in generations. And in order to be effective teachers, we need to understand those differences and then proceed with them. I'm going to show you some very interesting things. Is there anybody in this presentation who can tell me what does these things mean? Maybe I can go with the moderator because moderator is easy to mute and unmute. So maybe Miss Moderator, can you tell me what any of these means, or maybe what does this name emoticon mean? Like, what does this mean? Do you know? Yes, no? All right, maybe Dr. Lodi, do you know any of these symbols? What do they mean?
Dr. Lodi.
Yes, Dr. Fazan, this is all about some codings for writing some emotional, sentiments. So
Yes,
we apply these kinds of things in our conversation.
right.
Yes.
So the thing is this, these days, if you look at any young person who is a teenager, right? If you look at them, how they chat, they mainly use things like this. But when you look at us, yes, I understand this is coding, but do you or do I know the meanings of these codes? Probably not. So it creates a difference in, the expectations and the performance between today's generation and who is teaching them. Now, very interesting, I guess, because there's a lot of Indonesians here. This last code, which is this one, it actually shows a coffee cup, which is a Java coffee. So if you look at it, you won't, recognize that. What does this mean? But this comes from a young student in my class saying, let's go for a coffee. And then they put something like this. So you won't know what does this mean, right? Which is just one example of how much we are different from the generation that we are teaching. Now, moving forward, I like this quotation a lot. And what does this mean? It's very simple that I was in my high school, which is FSC, when I got my first mobile phone. My son, who is 4 years old, can use mobile phone now. If you go give him iPad, he can download apps, he can play games, And sometimes I don't know how to do those things, but they know. And there's an interesting thing about Robert Murdoch, and he actually divides these two groups into digital immigrants and digital natives. And digital natives are today's kids, like kids that we are teaching today. They are born with technology, they are born with smartphones, with internet. Us, on the other hand, are more like digital immigrants because we actually migrated to information technology and smartphones and internet and things like this. So the thing is that this last paragraph here, which says that we may never become true digital natives, but we can and must begin to assimilate to their culture and way of thinking, which is one of the most basic things if you want to be an effective teacher, to understand what today's generation wants and how you can deliver that to this generation. How many of you know this guy? A lot? A little bit? This guy is Einstein, right? We all know him, Einstein. All right, so somebody put a cross on Einstein. Now, I don't know what does this mean. Maybe this person does not like Einstein. I don't know. But Einstein said something, and Einstein said something that was really, really cool. And he said that I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. Now, why do I say it's very interesting? Because of this. So if you look at these young people, what they are doing is different type of things, right? So having coffee with friends, a day at a beach, or maybe go to watch a match, or having dinner, or enjoying sights, or go for a date. But what's common in all of this? If you look at all these pictures, what's common? Smartphone. People are coming more towards technology and less towards human touch, which is exactly what Einstein feared, right? That there would be an age where technology is going to go beyond human interaction. So now what I would say is this: we cannot close our eyes thinking that things are going to change. Rather, we are in this age where we have people to teach who are digital natives, who are using phones, who are using technology, have a lot of access to internet and other technologies. So what we need to do is, instead of not learning it, what we should do is learn. But before learning, we should unlearn and then relearn, because we all have a lot of preconceptions. So we need to unlearn them, remove all of them, and relearn the new skills or things that we need to work on. So there's a lot of schools that I have seen in developing countries where teachers do not know how to make a presentation, where teachers do not know how to actually write something on Microsoft Word. So if that's the situation, how are we expecting to train our students? Now, forget about training your own students in a school. Think about how these students are going to compete with other students who are really good at technology. So technology is here, it's going to stay here, but we need to find a way to use that technology to make things better for us and our students. Now, I want to show you this. So there's a lot of literature, there's a lot of research about who are millennials, what are these young people doing, what do they want. But if we summarize them, there are a few characteristics of this generation that we are teaching young people. And by young, I don't mean elementary school or primary school or secondary school. I mean even university students who are like in their teens or early 20s. First, they are digitally literate. They understand digital technologies. I mean, to be honest, when I go to Pakistan, I see a lot of people who actually have just taken primary education, yet they use mobile phones. They use technology to a certain extent, right? So today's students are digitally literate. They are mobile because everybody is using mobile phone. They're always on, means pretty much everybody have got access. Now, to be honest, yesterday I presented at a conference in Turkey about usage of smartphone, and it's very surprising that on average, one teenager today uses a mobile phone for around 37 hours a week, which is almost a full-time job, because a full-time job is 40 hours a week. And these people who are using smartphones right now in the whole world are around 2.4 billion people, which is a lot because the total population is 7 billion. But out of those 2.4 billion, 81% people use smartphones to use internet, which means that 81% of people who have phones are using phones because of internet. So this generation is always online. They're experiential, means they want hands-on activities. They want to understand things rather than, just going through them again and again and again and again. And then the last thing, which is very important for today's generation, is social or staying connected. They want to be connected. And that's the reason why, I mean, in Indonesia, I guess everybody uses Instagram, right? Or if not Instagram, maybe Facebook. If not Facebook, now WhatsApp or TikTok, or I don't know, all these different type of things. So today's generation wants to be connected. These are some of the characteristics. Now, because of all of this, today's generation is called hypertext minds, which means that in their mind, everything is connected, just like hyperlinks, right? And what do they want? So first they want interactive classes. So if you are in your class, traditionally, how do people teach? Mainly in developing countries, there's a professor who comes to the class or a teacher comes to the class and just teach for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, and then leave. But today's generation wants more interactiveness. Today's generation, because of being so exposed to technology, can do parallel processing, means they can look into different things at the same time. They are much better at reading visual images. Like this presentation right now, if you look at it, it's quite visual. You have a lot of pictures, you have a lot of icons, there's not a lot of text. So today's generation wants more visual. They want more faster response time. So when they want to ask something, you need to tell them right away. To be very honest, do you know that today's teenager, like in today's time when we are talking about teenagers, what is their attention span? Attention span means that if it doesn't happen, they will change their mind to something else. It's 8 seconds. If in 8 seconds something doesn't happen, they change their mind. Just think about yourself when you want to open a website on internet or on your phone. If it doesn't open in 5 seconds or 6 seconds, what do? You close that tab or maybe press the refresh or something like that. So that's today's generation qualities. However, with all this, there are also some concerns. There are also some limitations. Number one, like I said, short attention span. So when you go to the class, I cannot teach for 3 hours. My students just cannot sit in the class for 3 hours because they don't have that much attention. Number two, they don't pay attention to what you are saying very closely because their mind is always processing social media or phone or using internet in the class for other things. Third, because many young people now are going to schools and colleges and universities without proper work experience, many of them lack reflection. They are good at understanding things in the book, but they are not good at understanding things outside of the book. Then many of these students do not understand the quality of sources because these days everything is on internet, right now. I don't know, because this session is not very interactive, but you think about it. How many of your students use Wikipedia? Maybe a lot of them use Wikipedia to put things in their assignments or in their classwork, or Google. But how many of them actually check the quality of the sources that they are looking at? So this is another concern with this generation. With a lot of information technology and access to internet, the quality of the sources are becoming really bad. So there's not a lot of quality sources of information. Now, if you ask many students based on research, what type of classes do they want, like today's students? Number one, they prefer teamwork, peer-to-peer. They want to work together. Number two, they want more structured classes. So what does structure means? That in the start of the class, you need to tell the students what exactly are you going to cover in the class. They want more engagement in the class. They want more visual stuff in the class, or things that are done on hands activity in the class. And they want to do things that matter, not only assignments in the class, but things that really matter to the society, to other people. So these are some preferences of these students. Now, when we go ahead and we compare these students to the teachers, and teachers are mainly Generation X and Generation Y, so it's very interesting to see the differences in them. So while our students are becoming more multitasking, teachers are mainly single or limited task oriented. They go with one thing in their mind, that I want to teach this thing only. While students focus more on pictures, sounds, and video, teachers these days are focusing more on text. And that's again because generational differences. While students want more interaction and more networks, teachers prefer more independence and individualistic stuff. Students want more engaging classes, Teachers want more discipline in the classes, right? So these type of things are really, now again, remember, whatever I say, it doesn't mean that everybody is like this, but it just shows the general trends around us. Okay, then let's move forward very quickly, and I'm mindful of the 20 minutes that I have. I'm probably almost at 20 minutes now. um, that right now, when we look around ourselves, everything is based on technology. Pretty much everything is based on technology. In fact, we now have even technologies to manage the technologies that we have. It's just unbelievable, right? That there's so much technologies that you have to manage the technology. In fact, your own smartphone gives you times on how much time did you spend on your phone today. So it just becomes very interesting. So remember that with the technology, our societies are changing, people's expectations are changing, and because of this, the teaching is changing. Now, because the teaching is changing, teachers, educators who are really at the forefront front of everything must lead this change. They must understand how to do this change, how to lead this change. When we go further, need to understand that because of the way students are, educators must provide this environment in the class that is in the box but out of the box, which means that they go in the class, they want to teach in the class, but they need to expose their students to the global opportunities or endless opportunities, which is because of technology. Right, so this is what it is. Now, we talked a lot about technology, right? Like technology this, technology that, blah blah blah. What's interesting is that many people actually get the definition of technology wrong. And you ask many people, like, what is technology? And to be honest, I mean, I can ask, and I'd really appreciate if some of you can put it in the chat and tell me, what do you think technology is? When I ask people what is technology, they don't tell me what is technology. They tell me, computer is a technology, smartphone, robots, AI, augmented reality. They name technologies, but they don't understand what technology is. So you need to understand what is technology, right? What do you think this thing is, this typewriter? It has nothing to do with robots. It's nothing to do with AI or AR or whatever. 100 years ago, this came out as a technology because it was something that was doing things better than before. So technology is not only the tools that we talk about. Technology is basically a process by which human beings modify the nature to meet their needs and wants. So that's what technology is. You just come up with an invention, a new way of doing things better than before. And it can be computers, it can be non-computers, doesn't matter. That's what it is. Many people these days around the world in very good universities and schools are using Lego. I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but Lego is becoming very famous thing to play in the class, to learn things, Lego. Now, Lego is children's toy. It is nothing to do with technology, but it is considered as an educational technology tool because it helps you do things better, right? So when we look at technology, basically, because this webinar is about teachers, so we need to focus entirely on educational technology, which simply means how can teachers deliver contents to their students using information and communication technology. Now, remember, I don't say technology, I say information and communication technology. Two things. One is how can you provide information in a better way to your students, which is all your course content, right? Whatever you are teaching to your students. And then communication technology means how do you communicate with these students? Like, how do you communicate with them? And sometimes that communication can be on WhatsApp, it can be on Facebook, it can be on anything that is best for you and your students. Now, if you look at how technology has evolved, and you will see that where we start and where we end, these are very different. I mean, many people even don't consider this as technology, but this is how technology has evolved over the years. So blackboard and chalk, who thinks that's a technology today? Like, nobody thinks blackboard and chalk is technology. But think about 100 years ago when there was no blackboard and there was no chalk and people were just writing on trees or on some other places. At that time, blackboard and chalk was technology because it was a way to do things better than before. And then we went to whiteboard and marker, and then we went to overhead projectors, to PowerPoint presentations, to video conferencing and e-classrooms. And now we even have holographic teachers where you don't have a human teacher to teach people. You can have completely artificial intelligence based teachers to teach people. So It's just the way of doing things better than before. Very quickly, what are some advantages if you use technology? Now, again, when you use technology, you need to think about it. Do you really need to use it or not? I'm pretty sure that all of you love to travel, right? All of you love to travel by air, and it's good. It can take you places, right? But if I want to go from my home to my office, I don't take an airplane. There's no need to take an airplane. Even though I like traveling by air, I just don't want to do it because it's not beneficial at that time. So when we look at technology, you don't need to use all types of technologies, whatever is available. You need to think of what advantage does it give you, what are the limitations. So right now, why people use technology is because of ease to access information, because it can develop interest in learning, because it can help people retain the information, because you can store more information in your technology. Like you can store, I don't know how much in your laptop. And think about it, when there were no laptops, how many people were storing it into books and textbooks and this and that and all those things, right? So all these are your different advantages for using technology. Now, think about all these advantages, think about which of these advantages are important for you, and then decide whether you want to use technology or not. Now, when we talk about today's world, like COVID-19 and everything, many people were supposed to teach distance education, which means that you don't come to the class, rather you teach people from far away, from another location, probably your home, right? Now, what this means is that you and your students do not meet physically. You are distance, different places. There are two models in the world. One is called synchronous, one is called asynchronous. Synchronous simply means that where you and your students meet at the same time. Just assume if I was your teacher and all of you were my students and this was a class, we would call it synchronous class because the teacher and the students are at the same time available online. It can be different. Like I'm in America, you guys are all in different countries, so that's completely fine. Asynchronous is different. Asynchronous means that you are still online, you are still far from each other, but you're not doing the class at the same time. You just put things online and your students access them and read them and whatever. So that's what's the difference between asynchronous and synchronous. Now, obviously, both of them are very different from each other, and your planning for both of these classes would be very different. So there are quite a lot of tools that can be used in order to do this. Because remember, when you're doing synchronous, like right now, what I'm doing, this is easier because you can make a PowerPoint slides and you can just present like this. But you need obviously a channel to do that. And there are multiple channels right now. One is Zoom, which we are using right now. So you can use Zoom to do that, or you can use Google Hangout, which is free. So you can freely use Google Hangout to do something like this. Then there's Microsoft Teams. So you can use Microsoft Teams. Skype is another one. So that's that. Now, let's say if you are doing asynchronous. So asynchronous means you don't have the class at the same time. Then what do you need to use to make things interactive and engaging and whatever? So what I normally do is I make my presentation just like this, but I don't teach people for 3 hours because there's no way my students can watch my video for 3 hours. So what I do is on each slide, like this one slide, I put a small video, and you can do it from within Microsoft PowerPoint. You don't need to buy anything additional. You don't need to buy licenses, so there's no money involved. And even if you're using the free version of PowerPoint, you can do it from within PowerPoint. There's another free utility called Soapbox Add-in, which actually goes into a Google Chrome. So if you use Google Chrome for internet browser, you can use this Soapbox add-in that can capture your screen. So it records your screen, it puts you on one side, and then you can explain whatever you want to explain to your student. So these are some tools that can help you. Obviously, I just talked a lot about students and they want more engagement and they want more good stuff and all those things. How can you do that? So again, there are multiple tools that you can use in order to bring more engagement and stuff like that. One of them is Microsoft Whiteboard, right? So Microsoft Whiteboard, Google Jamboard, Padlet, this Kahoot and Mentimeter, it's just some tools that can do gamified experiences. Like in the start, when I asked you a question and some of you answered, for that I use Mentimeter. which is very easy. You can put it into your PowerPoints and people can work it out. In fact, I can even show you one thing very quickly right now, and that would be, let me see. Okay, no, I can't use it here, I guess. Microsoft Whiteboard is actually normally included into Zoom. So if you're using Zoom right now, I guess because of the settings, it's disabled. But if you're using Zoom, you can do that. Now, obviously, because I only have 20 minutes, I cannot show you all these individual things. But if you want, I would suggest you to do one thing. I have a YouTube channel on which I upload a lot of videos on these type of things. In fact, about all these tools that I just talked about, there are videos. You can just go and watch them, because on those videos, I explain each of this tool in detail and how you can use it. So just check them out. It's going to help you, because of the time limitation. Now, remember one thing, this is very important, and I'm almost done. I just have 2 or 3 slides left. There's something called TPAC framework, and this TPAC framework is very important for all of us to understand, because what this framework shows is you need to be really good at 3 things, not one thing: technology, pedagogy, and content. What does all these 3 means? Technology is technology. I just told you how you can use different tools in order to make things better for yourself and your students. That's that. Pedagogy is how do you teach? Your teaching style, right? Your teaching style depends, like, do you want to do lectures, or do you want to do more hands-on stuff, or whatever? That's pedagogy. And content is, what are you teaching? Like, what is the content in your class? Are you doing case studies? Are you doing more discussions or stuff like this? So what content are you teaching people? So these are 3 different things. Now, if you look at this diagram, what right now is happening is that many people are good at technological knowledge. So you have a lot of people who are really good at technology. They can help you with installing everything and all this technology. Then you have really good teachers who know how to teach, because they have a lot of pedagogical knowledge, and they have a lot of experience in teaching. So they have like 15 years, 20 years, 30 years of experience teaching. And then you have another group of people who are really good at content. They have PhDs in that subject, so they really understand the content. But in order to be effective teacher using technology, you need to be good at all 3. And this place in the middle is called TPAC, which means that you have an expertise in technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and content knowledge. Very, very important. Remember one thing, technology is never going to replace great teachers. Technology can replace teachers. That's completely fine, because technology is replacing teachers. You may know a lot of platforms like EDX, like Coursera, like Skillshare. There are a lot of websites where you can go and get free education. So technology is replacing teachers, but technology will never replace great teachers. However, if a great teacher can get technology and use it properly, that can be transformational for students, to bring students into something really, really good. And with this, I will stop here. My email address is here. And then if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer your questions now, and even later you can email me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faizan Ali from University of South Florida, Sarasota, Manatee, USA. So we gave applause for him because he already present nice and good material. So now we will have chance for you to ask questions. But I see some people already asked on the chat. Please, we check. Maybe, let's see. Yeah. Who wants to ask? Please chat here. Christina, do you want to ask directly to Dr. Faizan Ali? Can you hear me, Christina? Operator, please can make her to be unmute. Yes, Christina Widiawati. So please, I see that you ask questions. Please be unmute. We cannot hear you yet. Christina, can you hear me, please? Okay, maybe another one. Dian, I see Dian says something on the chat. Dian PMD. No back is, I cannot hear anything from Christina, I'm sorry. So I will read what did she ask. I'm going to look. Questions from Mr. Faizan. In my opinion, managing models and technology for learning in current era is important. But what do you think so that learners happy and comfortable to following virtual learning, and what models are appropriate given a teacher?
Okay.
Okay.
So if I understand the question correctly, because I have a little difficulty in understanding the question, I think what she wants to ask is that right now many people are focusing on how to make students comfortable in online teaching, but how can teachers feel comfortable in online teaching? I think this is what she
Yes,
asks.
exactly.
Maybe. If that's the question, I think that, I don't know about, Christina, but many of the people that I know, they actually are teaching because of their love for the profession, right? So when you think that you want to make sure that your students are feeling comfortable, that means that you need to sacrifice something of your own, right? And remember one thing, like I said in my last slide, that technology in the right hands can make things transformational. I think for teachers, what's important is to understand what are your shortcomings. That's the first thing. So as a teacher, you need to really understand what you are good at, what you are not good at. Like I showed those 3 areas in my presentation. Are you good at pedagogy? Are you good at content? Are you good at technology? Which of these three you are good at, and which of these three you are not good at? So whatever you are not good at, you need to focus your resources and time on that in order to be good at all those three. That's what I would say. But there's no as such model, because we are talking about so many different things around us right now.
Okay. Christina, can you hear?
Ibu Ira ya.
Yes. Now we can hear you. Please. Okay. Because we cannot hear Christina, so we don't know if Christina already happy for the answer of Dr. Faizan Ali, but we will ask for Sri Noryati that already chat on Zoom. So please be unmuted. Sri Noryati, N-O-O. SD7, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for the time given for me. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question first. In my school, it is for based on my story. In my school, recently, nowadays, most students feel bored. Most students feel bored because of the situation of COVID-19. Now, we tried some models in learning, but some of them can join or to follow my method in learning. So, could you give me an opinion or a suggestion for me, especially how to develop and how to motivate my student so they can follow my method in learning. So the goal of my curriculum can be passed. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Sri, thank you very much for your question. Your voice was breaking a lot, so I might have missed a lot of stuff in your question. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your question is that everything is online because of COVID-19 and your students do not follow. So how can you make your method more engaging so that your students can follow it? Is that what you ask?
Is that what you ask? Yeah. She said that student mostly bored.
Okay,
Get bored.
so yeah, so because her voice was cutting a lot, so I just couldn't hear completely. But
Yeah.
here's what I feel, and I think it's a very common issue with many people that students feel bored, and the reason is because what many of us do is like, okay, normally I teach my courses in class, right? I teach in class, so my PPTs and everything is made for a face-to-face class. But now when we go online, what many teachers are doing is they're just putting everything online. They just put everything online and then they come to the class and just talk like if they are in a face-to-face class for 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever. It just doesn't work like that. Why it doesn't work? One, because your classes, the online classes are not same like face-to-face class. That's one. Number two is that just sitting in front of a computer for 3 hours is not comfortable for teacher and the students. It just doesn't work. Three, there's a lot of distraction. Most of your students are online from home, so in home they have a lot of distraction. So they are sitting in front of the laptop, they go to to eat something. Plus remember that not only your students are home, but their families are home as well. So their brothers, their sisters, everybody is home, so there's a lot of distraction. It just doesn't work. The best option for you to do is called flip classroom structure, which means that you need to ask your students to read things before the class. So let's say if you want to teach them one chapter today, you need to put that chapter 1 week before the class online and ask students to just read through it. And then when they come to the class, instead of teaching them for 3 hours, you can go through the main concepts in half an hour and then allow them to do something at home. Give them an exercise, give them an assignment, and ask them to come back after 20 minutes or 30 minutes and then check on them. So that way there's a lot of breaks in the class, and I guess that works a lot well with students.
Okay, I think it's very good answer. So Sri Noryati, are you satisfied with this answer? You understand? Yeah, not to put everything online, and also you must to mix between in the front of computer and another action. You can do it. Can you hear? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You happy? You understand? Okay. If you don't,
Later,
you can chat.
one of the biggest problem in my school.
Okay. Later, if you need Faizan Ali for more, you can chat him or you can follow his YouTube or everything else. He is very awesome and very friendly. Okay. And next, if anybody want to ask, please chat. Hasan Asari. Yeah. Hasan Asari. Yes. Okay, please to get unmute. Hasan Asari, can you hear me? This is the last question. Hello, Hasan Asari. Okay. Another one who want to ask? I think connection is not good to Hasan Asari. Raise hand. Who is raise hand? Kasmiran. Kasmiran, please. Okay, Hasan Asari is connected now. Do you want to ask questions? Please.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Miss Wanti?
Yes.
Hello. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Faizan Ali.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay. Good day in Indonesia. My name is Hasan Ashari. That's very interesting with your material this webinar. Yes, but in Indonesia especially, we have before COVID-19 disease, we have conventional learning. Yeah, I mean face-to-face learning and hand-to-hand learning. But after this pandemic, we must change. We must change how to learn, how to teach, how to interaction between teachers and student. And honestly, in Indonesia, some people, even student or teacher, is not comfortable, like you say before. It's uncomfortable to be digital or webinar learning. There, there's no connection. Looks like no connection, no psychological connection between teachers and student, and that's the problem. With the result of technical learning is in Indonesia, I think is little bit a downgrade. Maybe how to deliver the information or how to deliver the material from teachers to students. It's not like conventional. And you say we have a boring between student or teachers even now. How to change this situation? We will accept it. We don't have any option, better option. We must be digital learning or online learning. How to change mindset, how to change psychological in teachers or in student. We must accept that this situation. We must do long distance learning. How what's your opinion, how to change
Okay.
to us in
Okay,
Indonesia?
Hassan.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I think he got it. Okay, please.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Look, I'll tell you something very interesting here. Psychology and behavior changes are not easy. It sometimes takes generations to change your psychology and stuff like that, right? Forget about COVID-19, forget about education. Think about in Indonesia, do you think a lot of people stay in a line when they are waiting for bus or something? No. It doesn't matter how much you tell people. Same in Pakistan, because the mindset, the psychology needs generations to change, right? So now coming back to COVID-19 and education, I think as teachers, for one moment, forget about as teachers, me, you, everybody else who is a teacher in a teaching profession, we need to be a human being. We need to be really a human being to understand what's going on. Look, how many of all of you, like you are all teachers, actually talk to your students and ask them, are they okay? Is anybody in their family having coronavirus? Has anybody lost jobs? We don't know, right? We
Yes.
have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of your students or maybe their parents have lost jobs, nothing to eat. How would we know if we don't talk to them? Yet we push students to be in class. And remember, many countries like Indonesia, Pakistan, Malaysia, where the power structure is very rigid, right? What happens is that
right.
teachers come to the class with a lot of authority, and that happens with online classes as well. What I do with my classes, even though my classes are synchronous, I try to make it more asynchronous. Why? Because I don't know what is the right time for my students to be able to focus on the class. I don't know. So the more asynchronous I allow them, maybe sometimes in the night when everybody sleeps, the student can open the computer, they can work because at that time internet is good or whatever. Another problem, look, these are small issues, but they go long way. I've also seen teachers who kick out students from their classes because students don't turn on the camera, right? So they say, okay, oh, this is online class, you must turn on your camera. But how do you know that your student is not living in a condition where your student is not comfortable showing his background? We don't know, right? And these things sometimes can even lead to suicides, like people even suicide because of this pressure. So before we change the psyche of people or behavior of people, the first thing we all need to do is be human beings. Be mindful that, people are going through really difficult times. And not only students, teachers are the same, right? So if anybody in this group who is sitting, who is a headmaster or who is a principal or a department chair, who is managing 10, 15, 20 teachers, they should also be mindful of the teachers, because you don't know this situation is just so bad. So if you want to make things better, you or other people, I think try to focus more on asynchronous teaching. Allow students more time on their, free time to pick up whatever time works for them. And then, things will get better for you and for the students as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Faizan Ali and Hasan Asari who asked questions. I think for this session is enough. Maybe so many people want to ask, but some people want to ask in Bahasa. Probably later you can ask to Faizan Ali and go translate. Probably we won't need assistant. It's okay. And then
Email me.
now, yeah, I think it's enough. Thank you so much, Dr. Faizan Ali.
Sure,
And
sure,
please
sure.
clap for him for awesome and wonderful presentation.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
we will go to the second speaker. We are checking for Dr. Rapnawas Lodi. Dr. Rapnawas Lodi. Are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, Siri, I can hear you. Thank you so much for inviting me. So, can you hear me? My voice is clear?
Yes, sir. Sir. Can can operator make spotlight for Dr. Rapnawas Lodi? And please make closer your microphone.
Okay.
I think.
So, my voice is clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. So, Dr. Rapnawas Lodi, he is an associate professor from University of Central Punjab, Pakistan. He will deliver about outcome-based education. So, time for you, Dr. Rapnawas Lodi. We please.
Okay, thank you so much, Siri, for inviting me. And dear audience, I'll not go for my introduction, and I just want to cover the things which I have planned to share with you people. So today I'm here with a very wonderful topic, which is outcome-based education. So when we talk about outcome-based education, we need to differentiate between the two things. Number one is output, and number two is outcome. So, what is the difference between output and outcomes in a school or in a college, or maybe if we talk about a university? So, what is the difference between output and outcomes? So, this is not the interactive session, so I just want to come over the answer of this question. So the difference between output and outcome is that if we talk about the output, output mean the number of graduates a university is going to produce. That is basically the output of that particular university. So how many students a university is producing every year? That is the output of the university. So if university is producing more students or more graduates, so then we can say that the university is producing more output. Okay, so when we talk about the outcomes, outcome is not about the quantity, it is about the quality of education. So we focus on the three different areas, that is the attitude, skills, and knowledge. So that is the KSA model. So all these three elements, if you combine together, you can build the ability of the graduate. So if your graduate is lacking in the attitude or skills or knowledge, then we can say that There is output, but there is lack of outcome. So today, the topic is very wonderful topic, and which is based on the outcome based education. This is not the output based, this is the outcome based, the quality of education you are delivering. So, before going for the OBE, outcome based education, I would like to talk about something relating to the traditional uh, education or delivery method. So, in traditional education or delivery method, here you can see that this is very traditional method. One teacher is teaching, and all the other people are listening. So, all the students are attending the class and the teacher is delivering the lecture. So this is very traditional method of teaching. So this is very traditional method, delivery method, and in that particular delivery method, the teacher delivered the lecture. Number one, student listened it. Number two, they take the notes. Then they note down the important points of the lecture. That is the number three, and the teacher assign the different assignments, and that is fourth step, memorize the things, and then uh, that is five, and appear in the exam, six, and reproduce what was taught and get grade. So this is seven, and this one is eight. So we can say this is the examination system. uh, Students are uh, uh, involved in the exams. So this is basically the first thing, education, delivery method, and that is the output. The student produce, reproduce the things in the exam. So that is the traditional education system. So I have problem with this traditional education system because we are talking about the outcome based. So this is just like, if I talk about the next slide. So uh, this is just like that you are delivering the lecture, and in the first step, and the uh, students just reproducing the thing. This is vomiting so on the paper. So this is the second thing. So this is the problem in the education system from school level to university level. So they just memorize the things, they don't have understanding about the application, so they are lacking in the application, and when they go in the practical fields, they badly suffer, and ultimately they are not in the position to effectively deliver their jobs. So this is basically the problem in traditional education system. So in traditional education system, there are so many other problems. So I have taken the pictures from Indonesia. So the delivery method are very typical or limited. One teacher is teaching, there is no involvement, there is no activity. So all the students are listening, just listening, watching, and they are taking the notes, they are doing the assignments, they are reproducing the things in the exam, and they are getting the grades. So this is the problem in traditional education system. So there are so many other problems, but today I'll not go in details about the problems in traditional education system. So I need to jump on the next part, which is the outcome based education. So if we talk about the assessment in traditional education system, there are different grading criterias. For example, if a student score 90% or more, then we can declare that the student has performed excellent. So maybe on the 80% or less than 90%, we can declare a very good, or then good, then pass, or then big. So this is the normal assessment system in traditional education. So assessment is not taken as the tool to identify the student's strength and weaknesses. So assessment is only for the purpose of giving grades, A grade, B grade, C grade. So this is the problem in traditional education system. There are also the problems in the assessment. So we cannot judge all the people on the same level. So this is very wonderful quotation. For fair selection, everybody has take the same exam. So if we are expecting, this is the quotation by um, Einstein, Albert Einstein, everybody is a genius. And but if you expect from a fish that fish has ability to climb a tree, so it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So everyone is a genius. Everyone has different levels of learnings, and so it is the responsibility of the teacher to identify the different methods of assessment and the different methods of delivery. So this is very important, and this is what we are talking about, the traditional education system. So in uh, uh, this is another point, and regarding the assessment and improvement. So grades do not provide any information on the student's strength and deficiency in various areas of learning. So this is we can not suggest the student for the improvement. So for example, if a student score A plus grade or A grade in the examination, so we cannot suggest that these are your lacking areas, and these are lacking areas in your knowledge, in your skills, and in your attitude. So we cannot suggest, because this grading system has a number of flaws. So there is a need to develop another education system, which is the outcome based education system. So we are moving slowly toward the need, and the system of OBE, outcome based education. So these are the different skills we are expecting from the graduate or from the students. So it is very difficult to identify those types of skills which we are expecting that student must has at the time of graduation. And definitely student is going to join a particular job, or student is going to start a business. So that particular time, the student is not the student, that student has become the graduate of the university. So when your output has the outcomes, then definitely your student will be more successful in the practical field. So uh, if we talk about the employer side, so when the student appear, when the graduate appear in the interview, so the the employer conduct the interview for the initial screening. So they conduct the interview, they ask the different question, maybe the panel ask the different questions regarding the knowledge, skills, and attitude. So to be honest, in one-to-one meeting, only one meeting, it is very difficult in a single interview that the graduate can be assessed that these kinds of skills, attitude, or knowledge a particular graduate has. And so according to our expectations, according to our needs, then definitely they offer the job maybe on the probation period, and they, with the passage of time, test that particular graduate, that is that particular graduate is the right person for the right job. Then if they satisfy with the performance, then definitely they give the title of permanent, or otherwise they excuse that this is not right job for you, and you need to leave this particular organization. So this is the problems in the traditional education system. And the grades are only used that if student score good grades, we can declare that this student is good in knowledge, attitude, and skills. Or if the student score bad grades, then this is the symbol of bad, and this is the symbol that student has less knowledge, less skills, and he is lacking in the attitude. So these are some problems in the traditional system. And when, even when the uh, employer, boss hire that particular graduate, then definitely after some time, he must think that on the basis of degree or on the basis of the grades, I hired that particular person, but this person is not suitable for this particular job. Uh, so this is basically the problem in traditional education system. So now this is the time is to discuss the OBE, outcome based education. So it is not what we teach, it is what the student learn. Okay, this is totally student centric approach. This is not the teacher centered approach. So in the teacher centered approach, teacher worry about that the teacher has to cover that much syllabus in the class. So this is the problem in traditional system. In the teacher centered approach, that some teacher talk about that, yes, I have covered this particular syllabus in the class, now I am satisfied. So no, this is not the level of satisfaction. Yes, you have delivered a lot to the students, but the question is that what the students actually learn from that particular teacher, this is the question. So this is totally the student centered approach, where we need to assess, where we need to analyze what actually the students learn from the teacher. This is outcome based education. And in the outcome based education, we mainly focus on the three different areas: knowledge, skills, and attitude, rather than going for the grades or CGPA. This is very important. And I want to bring the information in your knowledge that outcome based education has been successfully implemented in the all universities of Pakistan. Alhamdulillah. So this is basically Washington Accord. They give the accreditation to the different universities of Pakistan, and according to PEC, Pakistan Engineering Council, they have given the accreditation to the engineering degree programs. So universities who are offering the 4 years bachelor degree in different disciplines of engineering, they are practicing the OBE system. So according to that particular system, they developed their softwares, learning management systems. So according to their softwares, they uh, uh, they focus on the key areas: knowledge, skills, and attitude. They deliver according to these areas. They assess the students according to these particular areas. But there are so many bases or foundations of OBE, outcome based education. And one foundation I would like to I'm going to discuss in today's seminar webinar with you people, and which is the Bloom's taxonomy. So this is very broad area, OBE. So we cannot cover all these contents in very few moments, in very few minutes. So but today I'll focus on the Bloom's taxonomy, and I believe that it will change your belief. And to be honest, it will change your method of teaching and method of thinking. So it is very useful. We are moving toward the OBE system. And for going for the OBE system, we must discuss the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's is very well-known American educational psychologist. He was this, not only the psychologist or educational expert, but also the methodologist. He developed the methodology of learning, methodology of teaching. So Bloom's provided this particular taxonomy, and which is based on the CAP model, CAP. C for cognitive, A for affective, and P for psychomotor. So, one by one, we are going to discuss, and all these three dimensions of Bloom's taxonomy, these are very wonderful. And if you could implement in your classes, it will change all the system, traditional system of your classes. So, this is the first one, which is the cognitive dimension of Bloom taxonomy. This is relating to the mental skills. Mental skills. So we are going to discuss these mental skills in the first dimension of Bloom's taxonomy. And I need to discuss in this clear diagram. This is the same picture model in relating to the previous slide. So this is more clear. That's why I'm going to discuss that particular slide. So there are 6 different levels of learning. The first 3 levels of learning, they are known as lower level learning. Lower level learning. So these are the 3 areas. These are the higher level learning. Okay, in the traditional system, normally we focus on the these lower level learnings in traditional systems, in schools, in colleges, in universities. Like the first level is remembering, second is understanding, and the third one is application. But to be honest, I have seen in many of the colleges and universities, they are only focusing on the first level of learning, only remembering. Remembering mean you just assign the lesson to the students that you need to memorize from page number 1 to page number 3, and then students memorize all the definitions, all the types of that particular concept, and all the characteristics, and later on they go in the examination and they reproduce the same thing. And then after that, when they go for the practical life, they have nothing, only so in Pakistan, we say this is rata, only rata. So this system has many bad effects when they go in the practical lives. This is the first stage of learning, remembering. But when we talk about understanding, this is the second phase of learning. So in the understanding phase, the teacher must explain the things, why this particular phenomena exist, what are the different characteristics, and what is the importance or significance of this particular thing, and the existence. So in understanding level, the student learning definitely shift from the remembering level to understanding level. And in the third stage, which is very important, application. So teacher teach the students how they will be applying that particular knowledge in the practical lives for solving the different problems. So that is the application level. But to be honest, unfortunately, in the colleges, in the universities, many institutes, they are lacking these 2 levels, understanding and application. But when we talk about OBE covers all these levels, not only the lower level, but also the higher level of learning. So when we talk about OBE, then definitely the teacher has to move toward the higher level of learning, which is the first one is analyzing. So we need to give the students a particular assignment for the collection of data and analysis of data, and go into the industry, and then definitely the student come with the new information and analyze what they learn from this teacher and what is happening in the industry, what is happening in the practical life. So they compare the things, and they then definitely they move toward the next level, which is evaluating. They evaluate their learning with the uh, practical field experience. Then definitely in the last level, they come with the new theory, they come with the new model. So they must be the qualitative researcher. They must introduce the new model, the new framework, the new solution of the same problem after evaluating. So we can take the example that if somebody is teaching that how to save a person who got heart attack in the plane. So this is, for example, you need to memorize the students that these are the steps. If a person got heart attack in the plane, then these are the some steps. So we need to memorize. And the next one is understanding. Then the next one is application. And you need to send the person to the plane, and maybe some person got heart attack, and then that particular learner apply that particular learning, and then analyze what we learn and what is the actual happening. Then he or she must come with the new model that yes, we learn how to save the people in the plane who have some emergency, but actual model is different. What is happening actually in the field, that is something different. Then he or she must come with the new theory, new model. This is the higher level of learning. So in the universities, normally we focus on the higher level of learning. So what is the problem in the examination system? If I share these question papers, so in these question papers, mostly the questions are define, 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 explain, and define. Almost 85% questions relating to the remembering stage, remembering, and only 15% questions they are from understanding stage. So the first stage was remembering stage in the cognitive model of Bloom taxonomy. That is the remembering stage, first level, and the second one is understanding stage. So in this question paper, the teacher has failed to ask the questions regarding the different levels in of learning in the Bloom taxonomy. He or she has only covered only two levels and mainly focus on the first level. This is the problem in education system. So maybe the student remember the thing, remind the thing, and ultimately reproduce the thing. This is just like the vomiting on the paper, reproduce the thing. And what you think about that particular person will be successful in the practical field? This is the big question in toward the educationist, that we must have to think about our existing education system. We have to move toward the outcome based education. So this is another example of the paper. 90% paper from the first level and only 10% paper from the second level. Oh my god, this is too much. And this is 100% paper from the first level of remembering, Bloom taxonomy, remembering only. Explain, describe, draw and explain, define emotions, define cognition. So this is the paper of applied psychology. So you know about applied. Applied mean the application. You need to apply psychology in the different disciplines. So where is the application in the question paper? So we are not assessing actually. We need to assess the students in the knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So this is another paper. So there are so many problems in the existing education system. So this now I have discussed the first dimension of Bloom's taxonomy, and which is relating to the cognition and cognitive dimension. Now this is the second one is affective. So I will not go into details. I'm not going to discuss all these points. I will share this material, and this material is also available on the internet. So you can search it, Bloom's taxonomy. You can further understand, because ultimately After understanding this Bloom's taxonomy, we develop the different PLOs, CLOs. PLOs mean program learning outcomes, and then CLOs, course learning outcomes. And according to CLOs, we we design the contents of the course, and then definitely we align the assessment according to that particular level in Bloom's taxonomy. So we develop the different PLO, CLO, and program educational objectives, and definitely vision and mission of the program, and vision and mission of the university or institute. And then we must have to align all the things that today, if I deliver that particular lecture, it will hit uh, toward the vision of my university, the vision of my school, the vision of my college. So this is very important. So this is the mapping among the different levels, but we are not going uh, for the details, and we are not going to discuss all the mapping PLOs, CLOs, because this is very extensive exercise. So I'm also not going to discuss this effective because of the limited time of this webinar. So you can find it the all the material from internet. So this is the effective, but I just need to share you this particular picture just to conclude the second dimension of Bloom's taxonomy. So what is truth? This is truth. This is truth. This is truth. So what is actual truth? So we have to come with the strong argument, and the argument must contain your claim, evidence, and warrant. So today I'm not going to discuss the argument, because your PhD thesis, your MS thesis, it is the complete argument where you need to give the claims, you have to provide the theoretical and empirical, logical, and practical evidences to support your claims. So we are not going to discuss the research research related things in today's webinar. So but I want to bring you people on that particular point, that in the effective dimension, you need to change the philosophy of the students. You engage them, students are listening, they are valuing your lecture, and they are comparing what they learn from you and what is their experience. So they compare the things, and then definitely they come with the strong new belief system, new beliefs. And this is the belief system. This is truth, this is truth, this is truth. Everyone has different beliefs about the truth, but the teacher has to change the belief system and philosophy of the student in the class by giving the strong arguments. This dimension is all about the changing the philosophical level of the students, with the different case studies, with the different examples, and so that they can internalize their learning with the experience, or their thinking, or their guts feeling. So this is very important. And now the last dimension of Bloom's taxonomy is psychomotor. So psychomotor has two parts, psycho and motor. When we talk about psycho, it is relating to brain, and when we talk about motor, it's relating to the it is relating to that particular physical activity. So this is a combination of psychomotor. So in psychomotor, we focus on the skills, practical skills. So there are different levels in the psychomotor dimension. Particularly in engineering side, they apply this psychomotor dimension, and there are different levels. First, student learn by watching the practical. The teacher is doing the practical, and the student is just watching, and later on they practically perform the things. So there are different uh, levels, and today I'm not going to discuss all these levels. I just want to show you this particular practical exercise. So uh, if you want to teach your students that these are the 7 steps, these steps were provided by WHO, how to wash your hands at least 20 seconds. You know about COVID-19 situation in all over the world. So hand washing is very important in that particular situation. So in psychomotor dimension, the teacher has to teach practically and student has to perform that particular practical, and then the teacher declared that now the student can perform this practical independently without the presence of the teacher. So that particular level in the psychomotor we need to achieve. So this is all about my session. Thank you so much for attending my session. And to be honest, I'm very happy. Pakistan is a very brother country, and Indonesian people live in our heart. So thank you so much. And this is basically your traditional uh, thanks. So audience, if you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rabnawas Lodi, Associate Professor from University of Central Punjab, Pakistan. Now we are having three people who already asking questions, but we will ask for first Afifa Elianti. Please to be unmuted. Afifa Elianti.
Hello.
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
can you hear me?
sir. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I can
Thank you so
hear.
much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your excellent presentation. I'm Afifa, and I'm an elementary teacher in Tripayaman. And okay, for the first, I want to say thank you for
Welcome.
using for using our language to your closing. That means so much. Okay, my first question is in Indonesia right now, the student is given like a passing grade score. That means KKM, criteria ketutupan minimal. So it means that in the test, if the student hasn't passed the test yet, she or he has to have a next test. I mean, like a no, they have to test again. And sometimes after the teacher have given several tests, the student hasn't passed yet. I mean, the passing grade score yet. And the irony is the teacher has to give the unreal score for the student. My question is, what's your opinion about that situation? That's my first question. And my second question, one of the outcomes of the education is attitude. Attitude. Sometimes we call it a character. As a teacher, I try to build the character of my student by being a role model, by giving the real example from myself. In the new era like this, the the class with face to face between teacher and student, it's hard to get. Moreover, most of my students, most of the teacher, I mean most of the parents of my students are in the low level in education. Please give me suggestion how to build the student attitude in the new era by using technology, because I have tried to give the link to my student like a film or video, but they don't give attention. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the question. So please, Dr. Rabnawas Lodi probably can give answers.
Okay. Thank you so much for asking the question. You have two questions, and uh, coming for your first question, is relating to your system you have already implemented in Indonesia for screening the students on different level. Yes, we can say that this is the outcome based testing because in the different levels we need to test the students attitude, and for in the first level and for the second level we need to check the knowledge, and for the next level, third level, we need to check the skills of the students, and then we may declare that student is suitable for that particular program. So these tests also help the institute to select the right student for that particular right degree program. So this is very important, and if you have implemented, we can say this is the testing or assessment part of outcome based education, but this is not the complete system. This is only one part, and I'm very happy to know that you have implemented in your country. So regarding your second question, how to build the attitude of the students. So attitude include a lot of things. Attitude is not only the character building, but also the way of listening your lecture, the way of internalizing the things, experience and learning, and comparing, and also asking, because you judge that this student is listening you and this student is wandering. So definitely you need to change the attitude of the student. So there are different tips and techniques to engage the students in the class to change their attitude. And also for example, if I give you my example, in the last 10 minutes of my lecture, every lecture, maybe last 10 minutes or maybe last 5 minutes, in my every lecture I share one quotation, one hadith, or one ayah from Quran to my with my students. So then definitely, because teacher is just like the white cloth, if you put only one dot, it will appear, even everyone can see that this is the dot on that particular cloth. So teacher has to be very clean, and teacher has to be very fair, um, and also very loyal with his or her profession. So definitely, if you give some moral lesson, and if you conduct some activities in the class, some moral ethical activity, so then definitely it will change the attitude of the student. For I can give you the example in one school in Sawat. Sawat is a very beautiful valley in Pakistan. So in school, that particular school is practicing the ethical model building of the students, how they build. uh, Even their parents are not from very educational, they have very strong educational background, but this teacher practice ethical things in the class and in the school. How they develop the shop, a shop, stationery shop, and student can go there, student can buy the pencil, razor, sharpener, or some other the stationery material. But you will be very surprised to know that there is no shopkeeper on that particular shop. So they go there, they pick the pencil, and they put the money on the box, that particular money, that this pencil has this price, and they put the money in the box. So this is the practical exercise this the teacher perform in the classes, in the schools, in the universities and colleges. This is the responsibility of the teacher. So in this way we can change the attitude of the students. Thank you so much. I hope you understand my answers.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Latnawas Lodi,
Most
and
welcome.
also Afifa who asked questions. So the next question will be coming from Titi Kristinawati. Please be unmuted. Titi Kristinawati, can you hear me? Is that already unmute?
Yes, okay. I have already
Okay, now you are here. No, you go again. Do you have a good connection? Titi, can you still hear me? Oh, okay. Maybe we will wait for a moment and we will jump to Miftah. Miftah, are you here? Miftah SMP NU. Please find it. Miftah SMP NU. Please to get unmuted. Operator, please. Okay. Miftah, are you here? Okay. Waalaikumsalam. Please.
Okay.
Yes, Miftah, you
Still
can ask the
muted.
question.
Still mute. Please help operator Miftah SMP NU to be unmuted.
One question for Mr. Repnawas.
Okay.
My name is Miftah from Kudus, especially in SMP NU Amar Kudus. One question for you, Mr. When methods learning your message implementation and conditioning corona in Indonesia, and when adaptive between long time and supports goodwill from government from Kudus. Okay, thanks.
I think I missed some from him because the connection. But you, Dr. Nawas, can you get it? What his question?
No. Please
Okay.
translate.
Please,
Yes.
please, can you make your question again? Please saying it again. Miftah, please to be unmute. No, microphone is still muted. Operator, please.
Okay, this is my contact information, my WhatsApp and my email. And if you have any question, maybe later you can ask. You can text me on WhatsApp or you can send me the email. Yes.
Okay, so the next we check if Titi already here. Titi Kristinawati. Please operator to get unmuted. Titi Kristinawati.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Sriwanti, for the chance given to me, and the Honorable Mr. Dr. Ratnawas Lodi. Thank you. I'm so interested. Yeah, I'm so interested in the way you deliver the topic. Okay. My simple question. I'm really. Would you please share with me what kind of software or application you have been installed on your laptop so you can deliver your topic while writing on the whiteboard? So it is really nice. So nice to see that. Okay, do you get it? My question, Mr. Ratnawas?
Yes, sister.
Right.
I
Okay.
understand your question. This is the app.
Thank
Epic
you. But
Pen. Yes, Epic Pen.
pardon? Yes.
Yes, you can download it, and it is the free app, free application. So this is Epic Pen, and Epic Pen, EPICPEN, Epic Pen. Yes, Epic Pen. You can download it.
All right.
This is the free app, and this is very wonderful application. You can apply it while delivering your lecture. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rawat. I have the second question. Is it okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nawas. Okay, I'm a trainer for civil servant. Okay, then right now, because this is in pandemic period, so I do training for civil servant full in learning. But the problem I face is to reach the level of how to practice, because I teach a moral value one example is integrity. Sometimes I'm so difficult how to measure the integrity of the leader like this one, because this is full e-learning like this one, Mr. Rapnawas. Would you please share with me if you have your own experience about it? Thank you, Mister.
Okay, thank
Did
you
you?
so much. Could you
Okay,
could
yeah.
you please repeat your question? What you are expecting from me? What is actually your question?
Okay. Uh, I'm teaching about integrity. Yeah. Then in the end of the learning or training process, I have to evaluate my participant. The problem, I do training full e-learning, so I didn't meet my participant. So it's difficult for me how to evaluate, and how I know that how to how to evaluate the integrity, because they must this is about moral value sih, Dr. Nawas. I don't know how to, because this is the level when we are talking about taxonomy Bloom. This one, uh, we are talking about practice, how to practice moral value, how to practice integrity like this one.
Okay,
This is
I understand. I
okay.
understand
Right.
your
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you so much. So it
Thank
is
you, Mr.
very
Nawas.
welcome. It is very difficult to judge the training participants in the same session that either they have achieved the all Bloom's taxonomy level or not. So maybe after getting your training session, they go in the practical fields, they do the activities, and if they are very successful in doing the job in a better way, then definitely there are so many other quantitative or qualitative measures or testing of their levels. So you can go for the questionnaire, structured questionnaire, that these particular things they are performing well or not, or maybe you go for the qualitative measures like interviews, or you maybe you ask the you conduct the interview of the employer or boss of that particular trainees. So definitely there are so many subjective and objective measures to measure the actual level of learning, skills, attitude. This it is very hard to, but you can judge the effective dimension of if I go back to the effective dimension of Bloom taxonomy. This is basically the different level. The first level is receiving. Student is listening your lecture and the responding. He is giving you the response. For example, he is waving hands, or he is moving head, and in a positive way, that he is listening and he is understanding. Then he is valuing your lecture. Then he is organizing the things in the mind. Then he is internalizing the values or his own guts feeling or experience or perception with the lecture you are delivering. He is comparing the things, and and ultimately the next these are the next level, and which is the changing the belief system. Internalizing the value mean changing the belief system. So it is changing the actual beliefs of the student. So ultimately he maybe in the end of the lecture he will be positive or negative. So if he is negative, it's mean he is denying your lecture, your ideas, and he has strong belief, or he has strong uh, other arguments. So maybe there will be some conflict between a teacher and a student. Student is not agree on the point which is being delivered by the teacher. So then definitely you understand, then the student's affective dimension is active. He is listening, he is applying the things in the mind. So this is the way you can judge the training participants, that they are involved in your training sessions, and they are actually learning. So this is the effective dimension. But actual, when we talk about the psychomotor dimension, this is totally relating to the practical. If you want to test your students or trainees, then definitely you have to say them to perform that particular practical exercise. Then definitely in the end you can judge that this person has performed well or not. So I hope you understand the answer of my question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rafnawas Lodi, and also
Welcome.
thank you for everybody who still here, still have spirit, yeah, still good. Now there is someone else that want to ask questions. Professor Parvas, are you here? Yes, Professor Parvas.
Yes, I am here. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
This is Professor Parvez from Bangladesh, and at first I give my gratitude to Dr. Lodi. You have a brilliant presentation you just provided in here, and you provided the very much important part, that is the OBE. Now this is the wall for the OBE, and without OBE, actually the student will suffering in their career also, and the most of the corporate sector are actually think that they believe that the student have some experience in their study, not only just go through reading the books and just writing the paper in the examination. So I am definitely agreed with you. The point is here that I have a question to you, that if I want to successfully build up the Bloom's taxonomy in my organization, then what type of resources basically I need to establish this kind of Bloom's taxonomy in the elementary school to the college level? Because I already know that the IQAC already provided this kind of system in university level. But what type of resources, if you give us some experience, that have you any kind of experience that what type of resources we can use if we should build up this kind of important topic or method in our elementary school and colleges? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Pravesh, for asking the very relevant question. So there are some mixed results because every system has some advantages and disadvantages. In OBE system, when you practically apply this system, you have to hire the particular learning management system. Then definitely you have to align your quizzes. For example, if I'm conducting a one quiz mean a test. So then definitely if I'm asking three question, I have to align the three question with the different levels of Bloom taxonomy. My first question is relating to remembering level. I need to use the action word describe or define. Then the second level, the second question I need to ask in the quiz or in the exam question. Then definitely the second level or third level. So I have to align the things. So CN, I have to put the things in my software learning management system, that this question is fulfilling the need of first level or second level or third level. So in this way, the paperwork or the physical work of the student increases. Ultimately, the teachers cry. The teachers say, oh my god, this is very complicated system, and what is this, and now this is very too much complicated, and now our paperwork has been increased. So this is the thing what we are facing in Pakistan. In many of the universities, people are saying that, oh my god, this is very complicated system, teachers are saying. But ultimately universities are getting the benefits of this system, and the students are very quite satisfied. And ultimately if the student has not achieved that particular level of Bloom taxonomy, he cannot be promoted to the next class or next semester. So ultimately the grading is based on the different levels of learning. So the students are also quite satisfied. teachers are also ultimately they are satisfied. If they ask from their inner side, then they will get the answer that this is the best system. But no system is the best system. Every system has the flaws, but ultimately this system can be implemented from the elementary schools, colleges, or universities, and there is no problem if you could implement this system, because in many schools, universities, this system has been implemented on different schools and colleges level in different countries like United States of America or UK, British schools. They have already implemented this system. So there are 19 total countries who got the accreditation from Washington Accord of this OB system. Pakistan is one of them. Yes, Dr. Pervez, Professor Pervez, I hope you understand the answer of my question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rapat.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah. Professor Pervez, thank you for question. Are you happy with the answer?
Yes, definitely. Dr. Lodi is absolutely right, because without set up a huge system or the software system, also the paperwork is increasing. Otherwise, you can't implement this kind of Bloom's taxonomy in your school or in your college. So thank you, Dr. Lodi. I'm so much
Welcome.
satisfied with your answer. Thank you.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
We also thank you so much for Professor Parvez from Bangladesh that you willing to join to this webinar. We are very happy to have you. And we still have many questions, but we don't have time. So I'm sorry for everybody who asked questions because time is already over. So thank you so much for Dr. Rabnawas Lodi.
Welcome, ma'am.
From Pakistan that already bringing situation become so interesting. And we will give big claps for Dr. Rabnawas Lodi. Please. Thank you. So the next session will be delivered in Bahasa Indonesia because we have plenty audience from Indonesia. They are teachers that we are hoping they more understand about this webinar. So we have two sessions English in Bahasa. So everyone who doesn't understand Bahasa probably can adjust this situation. And we will have the third speaker from BPS DMD Provinsi Jawa Tengah, Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho, HPMSI. Are you here already?
Okay.
Yeah, please turn your video on and check your connection. Okay, how are you doing, Mr. Kunto Nugroho?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Bapak Dr. Andes Kunto dapat menyampaikan presentasinya dalam bahasa Indonesia. Mungkin summary dari yang sebelumnya itu bisa dijauhi sedikit-sedikit karena banyak juga yang menginginkan untuk ada bahasa Indonesia. Baik, waktu kami persilahkan Bapak Kunto.
Baik, izin share screen ya.
Oke.
Baik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Mr. Dr. Faisal Ali and Mr. Dr. Rabnawas Lodi. Your presentation is very good. Very good.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be very, very useful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Baik, I'm sorry, my English no good.
It's okay.
Saya izin dengan bahasa Indonesia.
Baik,
Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, yang saya banggakan, sebagian besar ini teman-teman guru, tapi sebelum itu kepada Bu Sri, pada Pak Catur, pada Pak Bupati, apresiasi kami dari provinsi, very good, amazing.
Terima kasih Bapak.
Amazing. Webinar internasional ini amazing. Kalau tidak salah yang pertama kali dilakukan di tingkat kabupaten kota. Luar biasa. Provinsi harus belajar dari ini. Provinsi harus belajar dari ini. Saya dapat tugas dari Kepala Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia, Pak Arif, 2-3 hari yang lalu, dan mencoba untuk sharing di forum ini dengan satu pertanyaan besar. Tadi Mr. Faisal, Mr. Nawas sudah menyampaikan bagaimana sih di dunia sono gitu kan, perubahan terjadi, teknologi berkembang, sistem terbangun, kultur tercipta, ada gagap-gagap dikit, tapi semua tadi bisa idiot, bisa autis, tapi very well, so much go on. Knowledge, skill, attitude berproses. Tentu Amerika, Pakistan, Indonesia berbeda. Baik, karena waktunya terbatas, saya mencoba dengan satu pertanyaan besar. Kalau begitu, Jawa Tengah apa bisa pinter bareng? Tidak hanya provinsi, tapi seluruh kabupaten kota, tidak hanya Kudus, tapi 35 kabupaten kota, Jawa Tengah, mungkin juga Indonesia. Tentang saya sudah disampaikan oleh penyelenggara, saya lewat saja. Berangkat dari visi misi gubernur menuju Jawa Tengah sejahtera berdikari. 4 misi ingin menjadikan Jawa Tengah menjadi lebih sehat, lebih pintar, lebih berbudaya, mencintai lingkungan. Salah satu misi dari 4 misi besar. Terkait dengan itu, saya mencoba mengkerucutkan apa yang disampaikan beliau terdahulu. Satu poin, yang pertama, globalisasi sudah tidak asing di mata kita, di telinga kita, di pemahaman kita. Globalisasi sudah menyebabkan dunia tanpa sekat, interaksi komunikasi antar bangsa, antar negara. Tentu dia akan berdampak, diiringi dengan kemajuan teknologi, dengan kemajuan pengetahuan, otomatis itu akan merubah knowledge, akan merubah sikap, kultur, dan seterusnya. Nah, dalam kondisi seperti itu, di Indonesia, kita dihadapkan juga pada tantangan untuk menyesuaikan, menyelaraskan dengan dinamika perubahan. Reformasi birokrasi. Kemudian dicita-citakan birokrasi tingkat dunia, ASN, nanti 2025. Yang kebetulan di Auden ini lebih dari 600, saya monitor sejak pagi, luar biasa. Dan tadi banyak bicara tentang bagaimana sistem, mekanisme, manajemen pembelajaran di dalam kelas, di sekolah. Nah, ini agak lebih ke atas sedikit gitu tentang policy pemerintah. Jadi tidak in class, tapi in policy. Kita punya cita-cita birokrasi tingkat dunia. Kemudian masuk revolusi globalisasi milenial, di dalamnya ada globalisasi. Revolusi industri, 4.0. Kemudian mismatch, kompetensi ASN, lintas generasi, sehingga sekarang masuk adik-adik Latsar yang itu akan memberikan warna baru bagi kultur dan kinerja birokrasi. Kemudian tentu ini berdampak juga pada gap kinerja dan budaya antara generasi sampai dengan milenial dan nanti adik-adik yang ada di bawah. Kemudian ekspektasi masyarakat sudah, adik-adik diem dulu. Ekspektasi dan masyarakat luar biasa. Pemerintah berkewajiban untuk melayani. Masyarakat menginginkan pelayanan yang dilakukan oleh pemerintah, yang notabene kita semua, termasuk ASN dan termasuk para guru. Kemudian mandatory, itu menjadi satu mandatory regulasi Undang-Undang 25, layanan yang cepat, murah, transparan, dan tuntas. Pemerintah provinsi, khususnya BPSDMD, Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia Daerah, berkewajiban untuk melakukan kolaborasi, sinkronisasi, integrasi di dalamnya komunikasi dengan para pihak. baik ke atas dengan pemerintah pusat, dengan berbagai kementerian, ke samping antar provinsi, juga dengan kawan-kawan mitra kerja kabupaten kota dan masyarakat, pelayanan publik. Di inilah munculnya semangat Jawa Tengah Corporate University. Tahun 2018. Tahun 2018 dibangunlah semangat-semangat Jawa Tengah Corporate University. Bukan ingin membangun universitas di dalam pemerintah daerah, bukan ingin membangun universitas di dalam lembaga pengembangan deklar. Yang ingin dibangun adalah sistem pembelajarannya. Learning system yang ingin dibangun. Jadi berbeda dengan pemahaman pengertian universitas dan ansih, perguruan tinggi, tapi ini adalah proses kalau perguruan tinggi mencetak disiplin ilmu tertentu, di Corporate University, desainnya, konsepnya, dan ini sedang dirintis dan bergulir terus untuk mencetak kader-kader tangguh di antara ASN, siapapun itu, untuk meningkatkan kinerja organisasinya, kinerja organisasi perangkat daerah, kinerja pemerintah daerah. Sehingga secara keseluruhan, ringkas cerita, Corporate University, JEKU, Jawa Tengah Corporate University, ini merupakan hasil learning, hasil training, hasil transfer knowledge, skill, and attitude. Nah, terkait dengan itu, Jawa Tengah Corporate University pada intinya itu ingin mendesain dan sudah didesain dan sudah dirintis dan sudah dideklarasikan oleh Bapak Gubernur untuk memberikan satu proses mengintegrasikan, membangun suatu sistem yang harapannya nanti menjadi suatu budaya, yaitu Jawa Tengah Pinter Bareng. Ini topiknya, desainnya sudah didesain, tadi sudah saya sampaikan, milestone-nya sudah disusun, roadmap-nya sampai 2025 juga sudah disusun, bahkan sudah diseminarkan, dan bahkan sudah direstui oleh Bapak Gubernur, komitmen beliau.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Ganjar Pranowo, Gubernur Jawa Tengah, memimpikan satu lembaga Badan Pengelola Sumber Daya Manusia Daerah Provinsi Jateng. Impiannya besar, menjadikan Jateng Corporate University. Apa itu? Meyakinkan bahwa seluruh proses pendidikan dan pelatihan, termasuk pengembangan SDM ini terintegrasi. Mulai dari kebutuhannya, substansi yang mesti dibuat, dilatih untuk mereka agar bisa melayani masyarakat dengan baik. Termasuk nantinya metode apa yang menarik, yang bagus, yang tidak membosankan. Sehingga hak ASN untuk mendapatkan pelatihan bisa dipenuhi dari Badan Pengelolaan Sumber Daya Manusia ini. Sehingga nanti pengembangannya kemudian nampak betul dengan outcome layanan dari ASN yang mudah, yang murah, yang cepat. Tapi jangan lupa, itu tidak cukup karena aparatur sipil negara kita harus punya integritas, harus punya kompetensi yang bagus, harus jujur, sehingga reformasi dilakukan berangkat dari sini, dan keluar di sini. Itulah yang kita harapkan dari lembaga ini, dan saya yakin betul BSDMD ini akan mampu membuat itu, akan mampu merumuskan itu, akan mampu melatih SDM yang ada di Jawa Tengah dan di Indonesia. Selamat bertugas. Kami percaya reformasi birokrasi akan lahir dari tempat ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Bapak Ibu, kawan-kawan semua, itu didesain 2018 untuk membangun suatu sistem pembelajaran dengan model blended, dengan model e-learning. Semangat Jawa Tengah Corporate University. Badan Deklat dulu hanya menyelenggarakan pelatihan-pelatihan bagi pegawai dan masyarakat, menunggu pesanan dari dinas-dinas. Nomenklatur itu sekarang sudah berubah, jadi Badan Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia Daerah. Artinya, BP SDMD punya tugas dan fungsi untuk menyiapkan desain, untuk menyiapkan sistem, untuk menyiapkan agenda, untuk menyiapkan kurikulum, bagaimana kompetensi ASN, apapun profesinya, itu bisa bekerja dengan tinggi melalui sistem pembelajaran Corporate University, JECU, Jawa Tengah Corporate University. Bingkai dalam pengembangan kompetensi ini integrasi antara Biro Organisasi, BKD, dan BPSDMD melalui sistem Simapan dengan aplikasi sistemnya, milestone jangka pendek menengah panjang sudah didesain, proses pembelajarannya dengan varian 70, 20, 10, 70 sifatnya pendekatan pada praktek, pada kondisi faktual, 20 social learning-nya, bagaimana interaksi peserta dengan coach, dengan fasilitator, dengan stakeholder, dan 10 in class. Maka arahnya talent recruitment, talent development, talent retention. Sehingga mimpinya Jawa Tengah Pintar Bareng, SDM Jawa Tengah sesuai visi misi gubernur tadi, harapannya akan terwujud. Maka dalam proses perjalanannya, 2 tahun terakhir saja tentang kompetensi sosial, kultur, kompetensi manajerial, kompetensi teknis, itu didesain dalam berbagai program atau jenis pelatihan yang diselenggarakan, baik yang bersifat kepemimpinan, teknis, fungsional, teknis fungsional. Ada 8.752 SN untuk tahun 2019-2020 yang berproses di dalam latihan BPSDMD. Belum termasuk seluruh anggota DPD Kabupaten Kota se-Jawa Tengah. Ini 2019-2020. Proses pembelajaran dalam basic Jawa Tengah Corporate University ditopang dengan digitalisasi. Semula aplikasi-aplikasi berjalan parsial muncul satu persatu, yang kemudian untuk basic Jawa Tengah Corporate didesain menjadi satu, diintegrasikan dengan satu klik. Satu klik saja. Maka di BPSDMD sudah by digital, sudah by sistem, ada Sejari on KD. Ini usulan-usulan pelatihan dari berbagai OPD provinsi, organisasi perangkat daerah provinsi maupun kabupaten kota, lebih dari 17.000. Kemudian juga ada sistem tentang PAWI, sehingga rekaman real time bagaimana seorang widya suara, bagaimana seorang fasilitator untuk melaksanakan tugas dengan jam pembelajarannya. Kemudian juga didesain sistem tentang e-learning. Setiap pelatihan, siapapun yang bertugas di situ bisa diakses karena setiap punya kewajiban untuk menyiapkan materi ajar, termasuk bahan tayang dan sebagainya. Nah, terkait dengan ini, ada 17 aplikasi, termasuk dalam proses pembelajaran, maka ada evaluasi. Baik evaluasi bagi akademik tentang pesertanya, maupun evaluasi terhadap penyelenggara, maupun evaluasi terhadap WI yang mengampu di masing-masing pelatihan itu. Satu klik Simapan BPSDMD Jawa Tengah. Maka juga tidak kurang untuk transparansi akuntabilitas e-public di semua sistem manajemen pengelolaan pembelajaran di BPSDMD dengan e-public. Ini satu klik dari 17 aplikasi yang sudah didesain. Sedang hangat-hangatnya, sedang semangat-semangatnya meletakkan fondasi dan menggulirkan secara parsial dan terintegrated untuk Jawa Tengah Corporate University. Datanglah yang kita rasakan sama-sama, Corona, pandemi COVID-19. Yang tadi juga disinggung-singgung, maka dalam rangka untuk tetap memberikan pelayanan publik, karena setiap SN sesuai dengan Undang-Undang SN punya 3 kewajiban utama: melaksanakan kebijakan publik, memberikan pelayanan publik, menjadi perekat pemersatu bangsa. Kondisi Corona, akibat dari Corona, pandemi Corona, ini memberikan dampak yang luar biasa. Tidak hanya bagi birokrasi, tidak hanya bagi pemerintah dan birokrasi, tidak hanya pada ASN, tapi pada semua insan individu di seluruh dunia, termasuk di kita Jawa Tengah, termasuk di Kudus, dan dimanapun. Sehingga bisa dikatakan bahwa dunia saat ini sedang masuki era VUCA, era yang semua serba tidak jelas, datangnya sangat cepat, mendapatkan berakibat perubahan yang cepat, memunculkan ketidakpastian karena dari manapun bisa datangnya, dan sangat kompleks irama dinamikanya, sehingga akhirnya menjadi serba tidak jelas, VUCA. Nah, terkait dengan itu, semangat Jawa Tengah Corporate University di dalam pandemi COVID, di era VUCA ini, untuk tetap mewujudkan reformasi birokrasi, untuk tetap mewujudkan bahwa ASN birokrasi kelas dunia 2025 dengan segala dinamika tantangan lingkungan strategis, maka di antara kita semua harus memiliki inspirasi tanpa batas. Maka butuh agile dan adaptif. Terkait dengan itu, Bapak Charles Darwin mengingatkan, perubahan itu tidak bisa dihindari. Hanya mereka-mereka yang adaptif, yang merespon terhadap perubahan, itulah yang akan survive. Yang tidak akan berubah akan digilas oleh perubahan itu. Yang lestari di dunia ini hanya perubahan itu sendiri. Kurang lebih pesannya Mbak Darius, dan itu menjadi satu kenyataan pada saat kita ada. Kita tidak bisa monoton, kita tidak bisa statis, tapi terus berubah. Maka di era VUCA, dalam kondisi pandemi corona ini, BPSDMD Provinsi Jawa Tengah menetapkan 7 langkah cepat, langkah sigap, karena harus agile dan adaptif, harus lincah, upaya pencegahan, mempenuhi literasi kesehatan, support bagi lokus, jadi di BPSDMD juga menjadi pusat karantina salah satunya, kemudian penundaan pelatihan yang belum berjalan, dan kemudian diagnosa dampak pandemi di provinsi dan kabupaten kota se-Jawa Tengah, kemudian melakukan proses substitusi metode pembelajaran, dan menyiapkan SDM, pengelola dan fasilitator, termasuk peserta pengembangan kompetensi yang adaptif, dan kemudian menyiapkan sarana prasarana digital, kemudian merancang regulasi dan desain pengembangan kompetensi baru berbasis virtual. Berbagai administrasi sudah diterbitkan, dan terkait dengan itu, maka langkah-langkah strateginya yang adaptif, supaya kita lincah, agile, supaya kita adaptif, supaya kita bisa merespon dan masuk di dalam perubahan yang tidak pasti ini, kita tetap bisa survive. Maka yang dilakukan perjalanan proses pembelajaran secara umum masih dilakukan seperti sebelum COVID. Bedanya kalau dulu tatap muka, sekarang berproses dengan e-learning. MOT, TOT, workshop, bintek, dan semuanya tetap diselenggarakan. Kemudian terkait dengan itu, yang secara mendasar, inovasi dalam proses pembelajaran ASN untuk pengembangan kompetensi ASN pada masa pandemi di era VUCA ini adalah membangun 6 langkah simitra, proses pengajuan sampai dengan penerbitan rekomendasi untuk proses pengintegrasian pembelajaran dengan sistem digitalisasi. Peserta memasuki proses pelatihan, daftarnya juga sudah dengan online. Kemudian pembelajaran, semua materi pembelajaran bisa diakses, bisa di dalam sistem Siptenan. Kemudian proses konsultasi, proses pembelajaran, bimbingan, konsultasi antara peserta dengan fasilitator, antara fasilitator dengan peserta dilakukan dengan media coaching and counseling. Kemudian juga computer assistant test untuk evaluasi peserta dan evaluasi online. Ini di era setelah terjadinya corona. Nah, memperkuat itu, maka yang tidak lupa juga dilakukan strategi manajemen untuk mewujudkan kebijakan Pelayanan publik tetap harus jalan, pelayanan publik tetap harus ditingkatkan. Di era VUCA, apapun masalahnya, ini harus wujud, maka pentahelik dalam kolaborasi, integrasi, pelaksanaan tugas lakukan baik itu di tingkat pusat, berbagai pihak, di birokrasi, kemudian kerjasama juga dengan berbagai pihak, kemudian juga dukungan membangun, mendesain, dan meningkatkan dukungan sarana prasarana, termasuk dengan jaringan digital. Ini secara garis besar, sehingga proses pembelajaran yang dilakukan saat ini adalah sudah melakukan dengan 2 model. Awal-awal corona masih tatap muka, kemudian berproses dengan blended, dan sekarang sudah dengan e-learning, full e-learning. PKA, pelatihan kepemimpinan administrator Surakarta, Kudus, pemerintah provinsi, Cilacap, termasuk pelatihan pimpinan tingkat nasional, PIM 2, eselon 2, diselenggarakan dengan full e-learning. Bahkan hari Jumat kemarin, baru saja ditutup oleh Kepala Lembaga Administrasi Negara PKN Angkatan 3 2020 dengan model blended and e-learning, di mana kebetulan BPSDMD Jawa Tengah yang kelima kalinya berturut-turut diberikan penghargaan oleh LAN sebagai lembaga pelatihan yang teragreditasi terbaik nasional yang kelima kalinya. Terkait dengan itu, tidak kurang, maka sarana prasarana fisik maupun digital, baik untuk klasikal maupun learning based system, sudah dan proses disiapkan dengan semangat yang luar biasa, supaya proses pelatihan berjalan, proses pembelajaran berjalan, knowledge, skill, attitude terwujud, kompetensi tercipta, kinerja terbangun, walaupun di era VUCA, pelayanan publik akan terus terwujud. Semua diciptakan, dan ini kurang lebih secara garis besar, Bapak Ibu, kawan-kawan semua yang bisa kami sharing. Kalau tadi bicara tentang sistem, teknologi, metode pembelajaran e-learning di dalam kelas, ini pada ranah tingkat kebijakan, dan di tingkat kebijakan BPSDMD, Pemerintah Provinsi Jawa Tengah itu siap untuk mengajak, mari yuk Jawa Tengah pintar bareng. Maka BPSDMD tidak hanya pembelajaran yang sedang disiapkan dan dilaksanakan, tapi juga dalam rangka untuk mengatasi penanganan COVID-19, maka peran aktif termasuk penyediaan lokus karantina untuk yang sama. Bapak Ibu, kawan-kawan semua, di era ini untuk menegaskan mungkinkah Jawa Tengah pintar bareng, sangat mungkin. Dan itu kembali kepada kita semua. Tinggalkan rutinitas, tinggalkan kebiasaan menunggu perintah, mari kita bergerak, yang agile, kita yang lincah, gitu. Tanggap sasmito, merespon terhadap dinamika, maka people, apa yang terjadi di masyarakat, kita harus bisa mengadopsi itu, kita harus bisa beradaptasi. Setiap perubahan yang terjadi, kita harus bisa identifikasi, bisa kita rekapitulasi untuk jadi bahan, sehingga pada saat melakukan proses itu, maka penghargaan. Tetap dalam kondisi apapun, termasuk era VUCA ini, maka prestasi pelayanan publik, prestasi kinerja tetap harus dinomorsatukan. Untuk itu dibutuhkan mental yang tahan benturan, tahan konflik, mental untuk spirit, fighting spiritnya. Dan yang tidak boleh lupa adalah siapapun kita terus belajar, learning by doing, terus belajar. Belajar terhadap situasi, belajar terhadap kondisi, belajar terhadap dinamika sistem, belajar terhadap perubahan termasuk pada anak didik kita semua. Luar biasa, banyak guru yang melakukan proses edukasi dengan secara mandiri dan inisiatif untuk dengan satu mimpi, cita-cita, pembelajaran kepada anak didik tetap terus terjaga. Itu sangat kami hargai, dan maka speed, agile, adaptif, itu menjadi fondasi semangat Jawa Tengah Corporate University menuju Jawa Tengah pintar bareng, insya Allah. bukan mimpi, tapi itu akan menjadi kenyataan bagi kita bersama. Kurang lebihnya secara garis besar, ini yang dapat kami sampaikan, mengapresiasi pada pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus menjalankan webinar ini. Mudah-mudahan ini menjadi inspirasi baru, semangat baru, ide baru, memunculkan kreativitas baru, supaya anak-anak bangsa, anak-anak didik kita ke depan tetap menjadi pemimpin, berangkat dari era pandemi, di era VUCA ini, no problem, semangat, bendera sudah berkibar, pantang disurutkan. Kurang lebihnya itu yang kami ingin sampaikan sebagai sharing, dan kurang lebihnya kami mohon maaf. Waktu saya kembalikan kepada moderator.
Terima kasih banyak Bapak Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho HP MSI yang telah memberikan presentasi yang luar biasa. Jawa Tengah Pinter Bareng ini dalam upaya juga kita Bapak bahwa Kabupaten Kudus mengadakan webinar ini, dan alhamdulillah telah banyak sekali peserta yang bisa ikut dalam rangka untuk belajar dan supaya bisa pinter bareng seperti yang Bapak Kunto Nugroho sampaikan. Namun untuk sesi selanjutnya kami harus memberikan kesempatan kepada penanya. Mungkin ada yang bertanya, silahkan. Mohon operator dapat dicek. Siapa? Asmi. Asmi. Asmi ingin bertanya. Yunus Asmi. Ya, kami silahkan. Yunus Asmi ada di sini, bisa mendengar saya? Iya, Yunus Asmi, iya. Mungkin koneksinya kurang bagus ya. Baik, mungkin yang lain, operator, siapa yang ingin bertanya? Ratna Mustika. Sayang sekali karena koneksinya ya, masalah koneksi ini. Ratna Mustika bisa mendengar saya? Ya, mungkin penanya yang lain, operator, please. Ya, Yunus bisa terkoneksi, Yunus? Itu masih off, Bapak. Karena harus dikonfirmasi dari Yunus. Yunus harus konfirmasi untuk unmute-nya. Baik. Mungkin yang lain yang ingin bertanya mohon dicek operator. Iya, mungkin karena bahasa Indonesia sangat jelas, jadi sudah bisa sangat dipahami Bapak ya. Karena bahasa Indonesia mungkin lebih. Ya, baik Bapak, ada tambahan Bapak Kunto Nugroho.
Sedikit, ada 2 poin. Tadi saya baca di chat, ada beberapa dari kawan-kawan, tapi ya, secara umum barangkali saya rangkum pertanyaannya atau komentarnya Gail, itu tidak bisa hanya datang dari high atau dari low level. Dari semua, sangat betul. Jadi dalam kondisi seperti ini kita tidak bisa seperti juga disampaikan Bapak Presiden hanya terjebak pada rutinitas. Harus berani improvisasi, dan itu harus dilakukan dengan kolaborasi, mengintegrasikan keinginan bersama, dibangun mimpi bersama untuk menuju cita-cita bersama. Cita-cita kita apa? Mencerdaskan anak bangsa ini. Jadi kepada Mbak Wendy, saya terima kasih, itu komentar saya, dan mungkin juga betul Mbak Sri karena bahasa Indonesia jadi sangat jelas dan sangat bisa dipahami, tapi sekali lagi saya secara pribadi dan atas nama lembaga terima kasih diundang, dan Jawa Tengah Pinter Bareng, bayangkan saja kalau Kudus hari ini bisa berkiprah dengan luar dari rutinitasnya, dengan out of the box-nya, melakukan webinar internasional ini, kalau 34 kabupaten kota separuh saja melakukan hal yang sama, gak usah gede-gede deh, yang ini aja dah. Semua webinar, mindset akan terinspirasi, budaya akan tercipta, Jawa Tengah pintar bareng.
Terima kasih Bapak.
Dan ngapusi. Saya kembalikan.
Iya. Terima kasih Bapak Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho atas pujiannya juga ya, dan teman-teman mungkin yang ingin bertanya kepada Bapak Kudus juga bisa dikontak nanti sendiri ya. Barangkali semuanya ini masih sibuk mengisi presensi karena sedang dibagikan presensi dan ada beberapa evaluasi yang harus diisi, jadi semuanya masih fokus karena mereka akan mendapatkan e-sertifikat. Jadi baik, terima kasih Bapak Kunto Nugroho. Kita berikan applause dan tepuk tangan untuk Bapak Kunto Nugroho. Saya sangat senang sekali Bapak Kunto Nugroho ini karena menyumbangkan tenaganya, yang mungkin tidak menerima bayaran begitu ya di sini. Sangat berterima kasih sekali telah menyumbangkan ilmunya untuk pengembangan kompetensi pada pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus dan juga beberapa audiens dari luar pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus, juga ada beberapa dari Palembang, kemudian sampai Timur sampai NTB, NTT itu ada. Ya. Kemudian juga dari luar negeri barangkali juga bisa melihat beberapa subtitlenya itu juga bisa dibayangkan gitu ya, seperti quick win dan lain-lain. Terima kasih Bapak Kunto sekali lagi. Kemudian kita masih ada satu pembicara yang terakhir. Dia adalah dari generasi muda, dari sangat milenial ya. Namanya adalah Bapak Kandidat Dr. Zulkifli dari STIE Semarang, Ketua LPPM STIE Semarang. Kemudian beliau kebetulan kersorabo untuk di tempat kita, jadi online dari Comment Center Pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus. Kami silahkan Bapak Zulkifli. Ya, bagaimana kabarnya? Baik.
Sehat, Mbak.
Baik, ya kami silahkan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang kami hormati Pak Kunto Nugroho, mungkin beberapa kali ketemu, Pak. Kebetulan saya di tenaga ahli DPRD Jateng, Pak, beberapa kali gitu. Kemudian yang saya hormati Bapak Kepala Badan BKPP Kabupaten Kudus, serta Bapak Ibu sekalian yang bisa hari ini kita bisa berdiskusi bareng tentang bagaimana pembelajaran di era new normal ini. Mungkin dari tadi Bapak Ibu sekalian sudah selesai semua karena pembicara tentang bagaimana mekanisme, bagaimana caranya itu sudah disampaikan oleh dua pembicara sebelumnya. Kemudian bagaimana kebijakan terhadap pendidikan di era new normal, termasuk bagaimana memasuki revolusi industri 4.0 juga. Tadi sudah jelas menuju Jateng cerdas, itu sudah pinter bareng yang sudah disampaikan oleh Pak Kunto Nugroho tadi. Berarti saya sudah selesai nih Mbak Wanti sebenarnya gitu. Oke, kalau sudah selesai juga ini Bapak Ibu sekalian, nanti saya nggak dikasih pulang sama Mbak Wanti sama Pak Kaban, maka saya coba untuk sedikit Bapak Ibu sekalian untuk berdiskusi tentang kompetensi apa sih sebenarnya yang diharapkan di masa yang akan datang. Sebentar. Kompetensi apa yang diharapkan di masa yang akan datang? Seperti yang kita ketahui Bapak Ibu sekalian, dari kedua pembicara sebelumnya itu sudah menjelaskan bahwa tantangan-tantangan kita ke depan itu, yang pertama saya ingin bercerita dulu tentang 4 pilar perubahan yang disampaikan Pak Kunto tadi. Salah satunya adalah keluar dari zona nyaman. Ini yang paling penting, karena kalau nyaman-nyaman saja itu berarti biasa-biasa. Orang-orang yang luar biasa itu harus keluar dari zona yang sudah nyaman saat ini. Kalau dari sisi ekonominya, mungkin saya lebih ke ekonomi, bagaimana membuat inovasi baru terhadap peningkatan ekonomi. Kemudian yang kedua itu meningkatkan indeks daya saing. Jadi ini menurut saya penting, empat pilar ini. Yang pertamanya itu tidak keluar dari zona nyaman, yang kedua itu bagaimana kita meningkatkan indeks daya saing kita sehingga kita bisa berkompetensi. Salah satu kebijakan dari Jawa Tengah itu luar biasa, pintar bareng, juga sudah ada kebijakan untuk provinsi cerdas, Pak. Mungkin itu pertama di Indonesia ada regulasinya di Jawa Tengah. Kemudian yang ketiga Bapak Ibu sekalian, yang perlu adalah memenuhi harapan orang lain. Jadi bagaimana kita memenuhi harapan orang lain itu tentu kita dulu yang sudah selesai, baru kita bisa untuk menyelesaikan dan memenuhi harapan orang lain. Misal, kalau kita memberikan pendidikan berarti kita harus lebih paham terlebih dahulu baru kita sharing kepada orang lain. Juga di dalam Islam itu ada sampaikanlah walaupun satu ayat. Artinya kita paham dulu baru kita bisa untuk berkontribusi kepada orang lain. Yang keempat itu adalah meningkatkan daya saing kita. Makanya kalau saya dengan Bapak Ibu sekalian, Mbak Wanti ini kebetulan teman di S3 itu sering berdiskusi bahwa kita itu harus menunjukkan bahwa kita itu memiliki kompetensi yang baik sehingga kita itu dikenal oleh orang lain. Bapak Ibu sekalian, yang selanjutnya Bapak Ibu sekalian yang bisa kita lihatkan adalah wajah kegiatan ekonomi dunia saat ini. Wajah kegiatan ekonomi dunia saat ini Bapak Ibu sekalian, itu kita melihat bahwa semuanya serba dilakukan secara IT, mulai dari sharing ekonomi, edukasi, government, seperti yang disampaikan oleh Pak Kunto tadi, sekarang itu sekali klik semuanya fasilitas tentang pendidikan bisa kita dapatkan. Oh, halo, masukkan suaranya? Masuk. Nah ini Bapak Ibu sekalian, kemudian saat ini berbagai macam kebutuhan manusia telah banyak menerapkan dukungan internet di dunia digital sebagai warna interaksi dan transaksi. Ini yang terpenting Bapak Ibu sekalian, bagaimana kita keluar dari zona nyaman. Kalau dulu tradisional, sekarang itu bagaimana kita terus menyiapkan diri untuk menuju globalisasi, tapi dengan tidak meninggalkan wajah-wajah keindonesiaannya. Kemudian apa tantangannya Bapak Ibu sekalian di era industri digital ini? Yang pertama ancaman adalah secara global era digital akan menghilangkan sekitar 1 sampai 1,5 miliar. Itu dari penelitian itu pekerja sepanjang tahun 2015-2019. Untuk itu memang pekerjaan yang ke depan itu adalah pekerjaan dengan kompetensi Pak. Tidak bisa lagi kita bercerita tentang bagaimana kita bekerja dengan tenaga kita, itu sudah tidak. Karena ke depan itu semuanya menggunakan teknologi. Yang kedua ancamannya, diestimasi bahwa di masa yang akan datang 65% murid sekolah dasar di dunia akan bekerja pada pekerjaan yang belum pernah ada hari ini. Artinya Bapak Ibu sekalian, persiapan kita baik itu dari guru, kebetulan saya juga sebagai tenaga pengajar di dosen dan lain sebagainya adalah menyiapkan bagaimana generasi-generasi saat ini itu bisa menghadapi era yang akan datang. Kemudian peluangnya apa? Era digitalisasi berpotensi meningkatkan net tenaga kerja hingga 2,1 juta pekerja baru pada tahun 2025. Kalau harapannya 2025 itu ASN World Class itu di sini juga sudah diprediksi Bapak Ibu sekalian bagaimana 2,1 pekerja baru itu dengan pekerjaan yang baru. Yang kedua, terdapat potensi pengurangan emisi karbon kira-kira 26 miliar. Ini yang salah satu Bapak Ibu sekalian kegiatan-kegiatan dari revolusi industri yang menguntungkan secara lingkungan. Bapak Ibu sekalian, apa yang kita hadapi saat ini itu sebenarnya sudah diprediksi di masa lalu. Bahkan ketika diprediksi oleh World Economic Forum itu salah satunya 2025 itu keluar dari pekerjaan yang sekarang, begitu juga dengan era yang kita hadapi sekarang ini. Untuk itu Bapak Ibu sekalian, kita sudah berubah dari dulu belanja di toko secara fisik, sekarang itu semuanya sudah melalui online. Kemudian begitu juga dengan transportasi. Namun Bapak Ibu sekalian, di dalam era globalisasi itu kita sebagai tenaga pendidik, kami juga ada hal-hal yang perlu memang kita pertahankan secara kearifan lokal. Misal Bapak Ibu sekalian, ketika dulu kita dijajah, kita apa poin pentingnya? Tentu sejarah-sejarah itu harus kita kita sampaikan kepada murid yang kita ajar. Ini yang salah satu Bapak Ibu sekalian. Hari ini yang terjadi berdasarkan beberapa survei itu, sejarah banyak yang hilang di kalangan-kalangan pemuda karena dampak dari globalisasi. Yang kedua Bapak Ibu sekalian, bagaimana kita mengetahui bahwa dulu kolonialisme dengan kesewenang-wenangan, keserakahan, kemudian bagaimana perjuangan ini dari sisi sejarahnya, kemudian perjuangan bagaimana mempertahankan Indonesia, sesungguhnya kemerdekaan itu hak segala bangsa, maka penjajahan di atasnya harus dihapus. Ini yang salah satu yang perlu kita sampaikan kepada peserta didik yang saat ini, yang perlu asupan-asupan. Ini saya kira dari sisi yang lain, ini yang perlu asupan kepada peserta didik yang saat ini, karena banyak yang sudah tidak tidak tahu akan sejarah-sejarah perjuangan bangsa Indonesia. Yang kedua Bapak Ibu sekalian, bagaimana kita mengkolaborasikan antara globalisasi dengan gelokalisasi. Artinya kita bagaimana menggabungkan yang positif dari global, kemudian yang positif dari lokal juga harus menjadi bagian di dalam proses pembelajaran di masa yang akan datang. Bapak Ibu sekalian, apa yang harus kita dapatkan? Saya langsung saja ke skill di masa yang akan datang yang harus didapatkan oleh peserta didik yang akan datang. Tadi sudah saya sampaikan bahwa 2025 itu pekerjaan yang sekarang ini belum tentu ada di masa yang akan datang. Untuk itu saya coba memetakan Bapak Ibu sekalian, dari World Economic Forum itu ada beberapa yang harus yang harus kita transformasikan kepada peserta didik kita. Yang pertama itu Bapak Ibu sekalian yaitu kompleks problem solving, yaitu kemampuan untuk memecahkan masalah yang asing dan belum diketahui solusinya di dalam dunia nyata. Ini yang terlihat Bapak Ibu sekalian. Sekarang persoalan-persoalan kecil itu muncul dari media sosial, tentu tidak bisa kita dapatkan untuk saat ini. Kemudian yang kedua itu social skill, kemampuan untuk melakukan koordinasi, negosiasi, persuasi, mentoring, kepekaan, dan memberikan bantuan hingga emotional intelligence. Kemudian proses skill, kemampuan terdiri dari active learning, logical thinking, monitoring, itu salah satu Bapak Ibu sekalian yang harus kita transformasikan kepada peserta didik yang saat ini. Kemudian sistem skill, kemampuan untuk dapat melakukan judgment untuk keputusan dengan pertimbangan cost benefit. Artinya Bapak Ibu sekalian, ke depan memang kompetensi-kompetensi tentang sistem skill ini yang sangat dicari oleh dunia-dunia di dunia pekerjaan juga. Kemudian cognitive abilities, yaitu skill yang terdiri dari fleksibel, kreatif, logical reasoning, problem sensitivity, itu yang salah satu Bapak Ibu sekalian yang menjadi tantangan-tantangan bagi kita tenaga pengajar ke depannya, bagaimana menyesuaikan bahwa kebutuhan-kebutuhan yang masa yang akan datang ini hari ini kita cetak, seperti itu Bapak Ibu sekalian. Kemudian yang selanjutnya dari ketiga ini, permintaan yang paling tinggi berdasarkan beberapa sektor industri. Ini yang kelima ini Bapak Ibu sekalian, ini berdasarkan survei dari Economic World Forum itu, bahwa cognitive abilities itu ada 52% Bapak Ibu sekalian yang dibutuhkan di dunia industri di masa yang akan datang. Kemudian sistem skill itu ada 42%, complex problem solving itu ada 40%, dan selanjutnya. Bapak Ibu sekalian, bagaimana kita bisa untuk melahirkan generasi-generasi yang siap pakai dan memiliki skill di masa yang akan datang? Tentu kita harus siapkan bagaimana mekanisme. Di pembicara-pembicara sebelumnya saya coba untuk hanya mengulang kembali apa yang harus kita lakukan. Yang pertama Bapak Ibu sekalian, komitmen meningkatkan investasi di pengembangan digital skill. Ini yang terjadi di beberapa daerah. Kebetulan kita sering dimintain bantuan untuk melakukan kajian dan penyusunan kebijakan daerah itu yang sering terjadi, kita tidak fokus di dalam digital skill Bapak Ibu sekalian, tapi masih ke dalam proses fisik dan lain sebagainya. Kemudian yang kedua, selalu mencoba dan menerapkan prototipe teknologi terbaru. Walaupun memang menteri yang baru ini menerapkan bahwa perlu ada pembelajaran prototipe teknologi di dalam proses pembelajaran mulai dari SMP sampai dengan perguruan tinggi. Ini yang paling penting Bapak Ibu sekalian, karena ke depan itu teknologi itu akan menjadi tulang punggung dari proses-proses pembelajaran maupun proses di dunia industri. Kemudian menggali bentuk kolaborasi baru bagi model sertifikasi atau pendidik. Yang keempat, melakukan kolaborasi. Yang kelima itu menyusun kurikulum pendidikan yang memasukkan yang seperti yang saya sampaikan sebelumnya Bapak Ibu sekalian, kalau di Jepang, di Jerman itu sudah masuk ke dalam Society 4.0 itu, yaitu menggabungkan antara human dan digital skill. Bukan lagi hanya bertumpu kepada digital, tetapi butuh juga untuk bagaimana kolaborasi membangun nilai-nilai humanisme. Terakhir Bapak Ibu sekalian, yang dari materi diskusi kita pada kesempatan kali ini, saya kira sudah semua memahami dari kita sebagai tenaga pembelajar, ada beberapa metode pembelajaran untuk mencapai 5 kompetensi yang di atas yang saya sampaikan. Yang pertama itu small group discussion, yaitu berbagi pengetahuan dan pengalaman dan kemampuan komunikasi. Kemudian yang kedua itu belajar dengan bermain peran, menirukan gerak, model, pola, prosedur, sampai dengan yang terakhir nomor 9 Bapak Ibu sekalian, belajar berdasarkan pada masalah dengan solusinya. Artinya kita bagaimana menciptakan masalah, kemudian bagaimana menyelesaikannya. Ini yang paling penting untuk proses pembelajaran di masa yang akan datang. Itu mungkin Bapak Ibu sekalian, karena waktu juga terbatas, sudah siang dan sudah masuk zuhur juga. Terakhir kami sampaikan terima kasih, kami kembalikan ke moderator.
Terima kasih Bapak Zulkifli ya, Bapak Mas ini ya, Mas Zulkifli. Oke, Bung Zulkifli yang telah menyampaikan paparan yang luar biasa, kita berikan tepuk tangan. Oke, mungkin ada peserta yang ingin bertanya, operator tolong dicek. Yang ingin bertanya silahkan bisa di chat di Zoom chat atau boleh raising hand. Ataukah sudah siang dan semuanya sudah paham ataukah sedang mau sholat? Iya. Ya, mungkin belum ada ya ini ya. Operator dipastikan lagi jangan sampai yang ini bertanya. Ini tadi ada yang bertanya kepada Pak Kunto. Pak Kunto masih di sini? Ya, seperti tadi ada Pak Kunto belum bertanya. Ketika Pak Kunto sudah sesinya habis, ada yang bertanya. Kemudian ini Mas Zulkifli. Ya, yang lain coba ini ada Natali. Oke, tidak bertanya. Siapa? Ya, ini ada satu Bapak Yudo RSUD ingin bertanya. Silahkan. Coba di unmute terlebih dahulu Bapak Yudo RSUD. Baik. Ya, masih mute ya. Masih mute, mungkin dikonfirm. Oke, silahkan Bapak.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Mohon maaf saya membuka APD sebentar ini karena berada di lingkungan Rumah Sakit Umum Kudus. Kami ingin bertanya pada Bapak Zulkifli, mohon maaf Pak, apakah pernah dilakukan survei atau penelitian tentang pengetahuan orang tua tentang perkembangan era industri 4.0 atau 5.0 yang sekarang ini? Harapan kami karena peran orang tua ini cukup penting karena sekarang hampir di masa pandemi sekarang ini hampir 100% kan anak berada di rumah. Harapan kami kalau ada survei, penanganan itu tidak cuma dari pihak si anak saja, tetapi dari orang tua pun juga diberikan banyak pengertian, khususnya mengenai lembaga-lembaga atau dinas-dinas yang berkepentingan dengan orang tua ini, karena jangan sampai nanti si orang tua hanya menyerahkan kebijakan atau pemilihan jurusan atau pemilihan apapun tentang si anak ini pada sekolah, di mana sekolah sekarang tidak selalu bisa bertemu bertatap muka. Nah, kami hanya ingin tanya itu Pak, jadi apakah sudah ada, kalau belum mungkin bisa dipikirkan untuk melakukan survei atau riset sejauh mana sih orang tua itu mengetahui, jangan-jangan orang tua juga belum mengetahui sehingga lebih acuh. Matur nuwun itu saja, terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Bapak Yudo. Bisa langsung ditanggapi Bapak Zulkifli? Ya.
Terima kasih Pak Yudo. Sebenarnya Bapak Ibu sekalian memang betul yang sekarang ini untuk mencapai generasi-generasi emas di masa yang akan datang itu bukan hanya tugasnya tenaga pengajar, juga semuanya termasuk orang tua, karena paling banyak waktu sebenarnya itu ada di rumah. Untuk itu Bapak Ibu sekalian, ada beberapa Pak penelitian yang sudah dilakukan, tapi sifatnya baru sampling. Itu ada di Bandung, di Unpad Bandung juga sudah pernah melakukan penelitian bahwa yang salah satu kesimpulannya pengetahuan orang tua terhadap perkembangan teknologi atau perkembangan zaman itu cukup besar kalau dari hasil surveinya. Kemudian yang menjadi kendala Bapak Ibu sekalian, paling besar orang tua berharap kepada guru Bapak Ibu sekalian. Ini yang paling penting sebenarnya, yang perlu kita sadari bersama di dalam proses ke depan. Sehingga proses ke depan kolaborasi antara guru dengan orang tua itu bisa berjalan dengan baik. Itu sudah banyak Pak penelitian yang dilakukan terhadap pengetahuan orang tua terhadap perkembangan zaman, mulai dari revolusi industri 4.0 sampai society 5.0. Memang di Indonesia sendiri baru sedikit yang mengupas tentang society 5.0, karena itu kalau tidak salah itu baru tahun 2017 diluncurkan di Jepang Bapak Ibu. Mungkin itu Pak Yudo yang bisa kami berikan komentar.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Yudo. Sudah puas dengan jawaban ya? Baik. Untuk pertanyaan lainnya kami silakan. Mursolin, SD 4. Ya, bisa di unmute terlebih dahulu. Bapak Mursolin bisa mendengar saya? Oh, Ibu. Mohon maaf. Ya, Ibu Mursolin. Ya, bisa di unmute. Masih mute ya. Dikonfirmasi Ibu untuk mute-nya itu dikonfirmasi karena di unmute dari sini. Diklik yes. Ada? Iya.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Mungkin berdekatan dengan yang lain itu bisa dipisahkan ya. Mungkin 2 orang barengan ya. Yang lain dimatikan terlebih dahulu supaya tidak ada feedback suara.
Dari SD Kudus, Mursolin mau tanya, ini pengalaman saya di SD saya, itu ada wali murid saat pembelajaran daring, mereka itu kesulitan dalam membantu putra putrinya, katanya itu minimnya pengetahuan ataupun alat yang dimanfaatkan. Ini bagaimana cara kita mensikapi hal tersebut? Karena untuk saat ini kan kita memang kesulitan di situ.
Baik, ya, saya kira Pak Zulkifli sudah bisa menangkap ya pertanyaannya. Ya, itu saja.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, terima kasih.
Ya, baik.
Oke. Terima kasih Bu Nur Solin. Nurselin dari SD 4 Bundaan. Betul memang yang terjadi karena dari saya ada membaca satu penelitian dari UPI itu menjelaskan bahwa apa namanya orang tua itu berharap full terhadap apa namanya guru. Ini yang menjadi salah satu kendala di proses pendidikan di Indonesia. Caranya bagaimana Bapak Ibu sekalian agar kolaborasi antara orang tua dengan guru dan tenaga pelajar itu terhadap peserta didik? Salah satunya kalau di beberapa daerah ada kebijakan parenting school. Jadi yang sekolah itu bukan hanya anaknya, tapi orang tuanya juga ikut sekolah. Kebetulan parenting school itu saya pernah ngisi beberapa kali dulu di Kabupaten Batang, kemudian ada di Aceh juga. Termasuk salah satu strateginya Bapak Ibu sekalian yaitu karena kalau dari guru kepada orang tua itu biasanya sulit masuk, maka salah satunya orang tua, jadi ada siswanya yang sukses, kemudian ada orang tuanya yang menyampaikan kepada apa namanya, kepada orang tua yang dari siswa yang lain ketika parenting school itu. Ini yang salah satu yang dilakukan. Di Aceh itu ada kebijakannya Bapak Ibu sekalian, setiap 1 bulan itu 2 kali ada parenting school, yaitu orang tuanya ikut sekolah, kemudian bercerita bagaimana perkembangan dan lain sebagainya, diambil tutor dari luar, juga ada pembicara dari dalam. Karena selain dari tingkat pengetahuan yang rendah, saya kira di Jawa tidak terjadi, tapi kalau di luar Jawa itu tantangannya luar biasa Bapak Ibu sekalian. Itu ada tantangan tidak mau menyekolahkan anaknya karena melihat oh sekolah aja nanti jadi pengangguran. Nah, itu banyak Bu di beberapa daerah di luar Jawa. Ini tantangan bagi kita tenaga pengajar yang salah satu solusinya yaitu dari hasil riset juga ada di beberapa kebijakan secara jurisprudensinya itu yang bisa dilakukan adalah parenting school. Jadi bukan hanya siswanya yang sekolah, orang tuanya juga mungkin bisa diagendakan 1 bulan sekali atau 2 bulan sekali, itu monggo. Beberapa sekolah-sekolah swasta terutama di sekolah Islam terpadu itu sudah menerapkan sejak lama Bu, sejak tahun 2014 itu sudah dilakukan tentang parenting school itu. Terima kasih Bu.
Baik, terima kasih Bapak Zulkifli dan penanya Ibu Nurselin sudah puas ya dengan jawabannya. Ya, mengangguk. Mungkin koneksinya kurang bagus kan, sepertinya Bu Nurselin koneksinya kurang bagus, sangat sayang sekali. Tapi luar biasa Bapak Zulkifli, kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah kepada Bapak Zulkifli. Dengan demikian Bapak Dr. Zulkifli itu adalah pembicara terakhir dari 4 sesi keynote speaker kita pada kesempatan pagi sampai siang hari ini, dan terima kasih kepada semua teman-teman ya dari guru dan lain-lain yang masih tetap join di sesi bahasa Indonesia. Beberapa live karena beberapa dari mancanegara mungkin tidak bisa mengerti untuk yang sesi bahasa Indonesia, kita pahami. Kemudian kita mengucapkan terima kasih dan penghargaan yang setinggi-tingginya pula pada Bapak Dr. Andes Kunto Nugroho dari BPSDMD Provinsi Jawa Tengah yang telah berkesempatan hadir dan memberikan pencerahan kepada kita semua. Kemudian juga we have to thank you so much for Dr. Faizan Ali from University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee, USA, dan Dr. Rapnawas Lodi from University of Central Punjab, Pakistan, who already delivered his presentation today for us with very wonderful and awesome. Yes, so we are going to go into conclusion and closing. So the important thing that we can take from this webinar is to understand how a teacher can understand different generation, because different generation will need the way teaching that also different, and also how to understand human interaction to interaction nowadays is changing because using technology that people a lot of using social media, gadget and everything else, that is change human behavior and also change the way teaching to students. So we teacher have to always be creative how to implement technology and digitalization to teaching. So in order to keep up and in order to make the teaching become more interesting, and also how to communicate to students with a nice way according to synchronous or asynchronous, and then how to make distance learning become good with using some application, and also how to implement OB, outcome-based education in from Dr. Lodi, Pakistan, and also bagaimana menciptakan Jateng Pinter Bareng yang disampaikan oleh Pak Kunto Nugroho, dan bagaimana menerapkan pembelajaran di New Normal Era oleh Dr. Zulkifli. Kami sangat berterima kasih sekali untuk dua narasumber yang masih stay di sini. And we also thank you so much to every ladies and gentlemen who already participate in this webinar. And we also thank you to Dr. Andes Catur Widyatno, MSI, who support this webinar. And also we thank you to Muri who all come here. And we are going to close this section. So thank you so much. I'm Moderator Sri Suwanti. Thank you for your attention, and please forgive me if anything I did, anything I said have any mistakes. So time will come back to Ira Dwi Hapsari. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Suwanti. Well, dear ladies and gentlemen, the last but not least, we're really proud of this achievement that already breaking the record for the highest number of international webinar participants. So we would have ceremonial for Museum Rekor Dunia Indonesia Muri. The team from Muri, please give a speech.
Terima kasih waktu yang diberikan kepada kami. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Yang terhormat PLT Bupati Kudus, Bapak HM Hartopo, yang tadi sudah berkesempatan hadir. Juga yang kami hormati Kepala BPSD MD Provinsi Jawa Tengah, Bapak Kunto Nugroho. Yang kami hormati pula Kepala Badan Kepegawaian Pendidikan dan Pelatihan, Bapak Catur Widyatno, MSI. Juga yang kami hormati moderator webinar, Ibu Sri Suwanti. Yang kami hormati pula Bapak Zulkifli. Beliau ini beberapa waktu lalu juga memprakarsai webinar internasional tentang kebangkitan koperasi yang diikuti oleh 9.239 peserta. Serta Bapak Ibu peserta webinar yang berbahagia. Sebelumnya kita selalu panjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa. Pada kesempatan hari ini kita semua masih diberi kesehatan, diberi perlindungan sehingga bisa tetap berkarya, berprestasi, dan untuk karyanya kali ini nanti akan kita abadikan di Museum Rekor Dunia Indonesia. Juga kami sampaikan salam hormat, salam hangat dari Ketua Umum Muri Bapak Jaya Suprana. Permohonan maaf beliau tidak bisa bergabung saat ini pada acara yang spektakuler pada kali ini. Sebelum kami menyampaikan catatan rekor pada hari ini, terlebih dahulu kami akan menyampaikan sekilas mengenai MURI atau Museum Rekor Dunia Indonesia. Adalah sebuah lembaga pencatat rekor pertama di Indonesia yang didirikan oleh Bapak Jaya Suprana pada tanggal 27 Januari 1990. dengan tujuan untuk mencatat dan mendokumentasikan beragam prestasi superlatif putra-putri Indonesia di bidang keahlian masing-masing, serta menjadi sarana pencatat sejarah yang menginspirasi profesionalisme dan integritas generasi penerus. Hingga saat ini sudah mencatat lebih dari 9.600 rekor yang terus memberikan inspirasi, menggugah semangat juang putra-putri Indonesia untuk terus menunjukkan karsa dan karya terbaik di bidangnya masing-masing demi mengobarkan semangat kebanggaan nasional dari segenap komponen masyarakat Indonesia. Kali ini kami berada di Kudus, maka izinkan kami untuk menyampaikan beberapa rekor yang sudah dicatat oleh pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus di Muri. Antara lain, kami pernah mencatat pembuatan bendera supporter terbesar, ini pada Februari 2005. Kemudian Kudus terkenal dengan makanan khasnya jenang, maka dibuatlah rangkaian jenang terbesar berbentuk menara Kudus, yang merupakan ikon dari pemerintah Kabupaten Kudus. Kemudian juga ada dibuat lomba posko sadar pemilu terbanyak. Ada 132 posko di wilayah Kabupaten Kudus ini pada tahun 2009. Juga ada pagelaran musik seluring dengan jumlah terbanyak 5.168 siswa pada Mei 2010. Kemudian pada Mei 2011 diadakan kegiatan mengakses internet peserta terbanyak dengan menggunakan kabel koneksi internet terpanjang pada satu tempat. Dan pada tahun 2012 ada penyelenggaraan tabuh terbang papat terlama 87 jam oleh 131 grup. Ini luar biasa sekali untuk prestasi dari Kabupaten Kudus. Sedangkan untuk webinar, kita selama pandemi ini juga sudah banyak sekali mencatat kegiatan-kegiatan webinar, antara lain webinar internasional tentang kefarmasian dan kebidanan, ini oleh Universitas Muhammadiyah Mataram. Kemudian webinar TOEFL peserta terbanyak, kemudian juga ada webinar pertanggungjawaban dan pemeriksaan pengelolaan keuangan daerah dalam masa relaksasi. Juga ada webinar pemilihan kepala daerah serentak dengan peserta terbanyak. Kemudian juga ada webinar internasional tentang kebangkitan koperasi di era tatanan hidup baru dengan peserta terbanyak dengan penyelenggara yang sama dari Pak Zulkifli juga yang memprakarsai di STI Semarang. Juga ada webinar tentang investasi keuangan kepada mahasiswa terbanyak, ini pada 14 Agustus 2020. Dan pada hari ini 5 Oktober, mohon maaf ulangi, pada hari ini Sabtu 5 September 2020, kembali kami mencatat kegiatan yang spektakuler, yaitu webinar internasional tentang kreativitas dan pembelajaran secara digital dengan peserta terbanyak. Di sini ada 1.215 peserta dari 520 instansi yang baru saja kita laksanakan pada hari ini. Sehingga mewakili Ketua Umum Muri, Bapak Jaya Suprana, kami mengumumkan sekaligus mengesahkan bahwa kegiatan webinar internasional tentang kreativitas dan pembelajaran secara digital peserta terbanyak resmi kami catat di Museum Rekor Dunia Indonesia sebagai rekor yang ke-9.631. Sebagai bukti tercatatnya prestasi ini, maka kami akan menganugerahkan piagam penghargaan kepada pemrakarsa dan penyelenggara, yaitu kepada Badan Kepegawaian Pendidikan dan Pelatihan Kabupaten Kudus, kemudian juga kepada Dr. Kandidat Sri Suwanti SSTP MM, dan juga kepada Dr. Kandidat Zulkifli SPT MM. Untuk itu kami persilahkan untuk menerima piagam penghargaan Muri.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillah, praise to God, we have arrived at the end of the event. Thank you very much to the speakers, moderators from the team of Muri, and all participants who have participating from beginning to end. Hopefully, a lot of knowledge will be gained to apply it in creating fun learning by using technology. Don't forget to fill in the attendance list to get an e-certificate. And I am Ira Hapsari, as Master of Ceremony, saying thank you so much for your attention. And also, I am apologizing if while I'm carrying out this event, there are mistakes or wrong words. Finally, thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hopefully, I'll see you again at a better opportunity. Give applause for all.
Salam buat Pak Jaya, Brana. Ya, saya juga terima kasih. Ya, apa kabar?